Okay.
Either way, this is episode 32 of Bro Football Focus, the Maurice Jones-Drew episode, or as we discovered, probably just the good running back episode. There's a lot of
we
them.
were
There's
saying
quite a
maybe
few.
O.J. Simpson potentially.
Is this a pro OJ cast?
Yeah, we've been pro OJ.
If he could
Just
sponsor this,
double-checking.
that'd be awesome.
Check out the Best Actors fun game, football player actors. Austin chose O.J. Simpson for that list. So
Yeah,
I did see that one.
Yeah.
which I do genuinely believe he is the best football actor.
Well, if you want to hear more about that, go check out that list.
Yeah, we'll get
But-
a clip up.
Yeah, we got clips now, allegedly. But this is episode 32. I'm Hunter. With me, as always, except for that one time, is Austin.
Just that one time, but I'm here now. That's all that counts.
We have, I don't know who the special guest host is.
I think it'd be Twaroski since we asked him first.
Yeah,
Huff
okay.
was just an afterthought.
So Phillip Jake, who is now going to be, except for those two times, we have the wonderful Anthony Twaroski.
I'm back.
He's
Skid
back.
it.
Michael Jordan's back.
Yeah, he's
we're
back there. Oh, look at him.
Oh,
All his glory.
I don't think I've ever seen his face. Oh,
There you go.
wow.
And then
Oh, now
our honorary guest of the week is Nick Charles Huffman.
I was this close to leaving when you called me an afterthought.
Oh, no.
Just go
Huff,
with the
I didn't
bag.
mean it like that.
There's only a 1/3 opinion, so you got to take it with a grain of
Yeah,
salt.
come on, Huff.
But with that, thanks for coming on, everybody. We appreciate it.
We genuinely do.
Would you like to hop into the Spicy 16?
Yeah,
Straight
let's get
into it.
So, to kick it off, the Chargers got a much-needed win over the Raiders and ended a 9-game losing streak to divisional opponents. Marcus Mariota entered the game for Derek Carr and balled out. Got them a little closer in there, but Justin Herbert won in the end.
The Bills and the Broncos played, and the Bills secured their place as AFC East champions as they waxed the Broncos' dainty horse cheek 48-19.
This is me. The Packers and Panthers played. Aaron Jones ran for 145 yards on the ground and helped compensate for a season low in passing yards from Aaron Rodgers, while the Packers managed to hold off a second half comeback from the Panthers. The final score was Packers 24, Panthers 16.
For the second time in 3 weeks, the Indianapolis Colts gave the ball to Deshaun Watson with an opportunity to win the game, and for the second time have escaped unscathed from the Texans' offense. Colts win 27-20.
Wow. Like a Roman gladiator, Ryan Tannehill slayed the Lions with 3 tutty passes. Mr. Henry also tallied a $147 on the ground as the Titans blew past the Lions 46-25.
Quality writing on this show.
Thanks, Hunter.
But I didn't personally watch this game, but the Bears and the Vikings played. I hope the Bears keep up this dominance. And all I really know about the Vikings is it seemed like Justin Jefferson got mad at Kirk Cousins a little bit.
Yeah,
But I think we'll talk about that later.
we'll get
The
into
Bears took this 33-27.
The Seattle Seahawks beat the Washington football team 20-15 as they held off the streaking football team. It was sealed with a sack on a late game 3rd and 15 by Carlos Dunlap.
Wow.
Big
Rookie
time
running
plays.
Rookie running back Salvin Ahmad and Matt Breida combined for 208 yards on the ground in a divisional win that officially knocked the Patriots out of playoff contention. And my failure to play Salvin Ahmad in fantasy knocked me out of championship
I was
contention.
going
Oh,
to say,
no.
when I heard Huff say that name, I made the connection in my mind.
I'm Team Trench all the way. I'm sorry, Huffy.
That's crazy.
Yeah, you're insane.
Someone's got to be. Someone's
think
got to
so.
be.
So
It's the last person you want to win.
Yeah, you want to root for Casey.
I'd rather have
there.
Watson win, dude.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, he's in the ship.
The
Yeah,
Ravens
kinda.
appear to be getting back into the swing of things as they got their third straight win against the tanking Jaguars in an effort to make a wild card playoff push.
We don't know if they're tanking.
They're tanking, dude. Well, Doug Marone's certainly not trying.
They're
No.
trying their hardest, okay, fella.
Austin's right, not Doug Marone. But I'm sure we'll talk about it later. The Buccaneers and the Falcons played. All you really need to know about this one is Tom Brady definitely has the Falcons number, and the Falcons, as we all know, are not a clutch football team. There's a point in games now that we know where Tom Brady's head goes down. He's looking at the ground. He's just pondering things. As soon as that happens, turns it around, immediate comeback. And
Yeah, it's
that's
pretty
what
much
happened in this game.
pretty much game over in that situation.
Yeah, Buccaneers 31, Falcons 27.
A late game Hail Mary for the 49ers that meant absolutely nothing made the scoreline pretty close, but it really wasn't, as the 49ers continue to struggle with injuries and turnovers against the Cowboys. Final score, Cowboys 41, 49ers 33.
Over 400 yards and 4 touchdowns for rookie Jalen Hurts in just his second start in the NFL was not enough to contain the Cardinals in this high-powered affair. Cardinals 33, Eagles 26.
The Jets rammed Sean McVay and the Los Angeles team as they secured their first win of the season and lost their chances of securing an actual franchise quarterback who could have potentially saved them from the fiery depths of football hell.
We don't know that yet. It's 2 games left.
I mean, I'm just calling it how I see it.
Chiefs and Saints. This one was a shootout. Drew Brees has a noodle arm still. Did he get hurt this game?
No, I think that's just Drew
no.
Brees now.
He just admitted that he's still hurt and his ribs may not be
Yeah.
full.
Okay.
Yeah,
So-
he just came back this week.
Yeah, when you're nearing the age of 40, or is he already 40, and you
Hey,
break
yeah.
your goddamn ribs, I don't know that you just come back from that.
Yeah,
So-
it's not a good injury.
He's 41.
Drew Brees' ribs are contributing to the noodle arm, maybe a little rigatoni.
I
But
think that arm is noodle-esque from last year.
they played the Chiefs. It was going to be tough anyway. Chiefs 32, Saints 29.
It was a very good game, though. Mayfield continued to look sharp as he led the Browns to a victory. And with each passing week, the Browns get closer and closer to ending the longest playoff drought in the NFL. The Browns take it 20-6 over the New York Football Giants.
Shout
Ooh.
out to G-Man.
Yeah,
was pretty
shout out
pumped.
to G-Man's several Facebook memes.
Yeah.
It would be the Bengals who'd be dancing this Monday night showdown after a strong defensive showing in the first half. Led to another W for the Zach Taylor-led Bengals over the leaders of the AFC North. Steelers 17, Bengals 27.
Twaroski, I appreciate the hat. Did you get that from Lil Joe?
Might have got it from Lil Joe.
Well, Dworsky, I do love the hat, but Huffy, since you're the honorary guest, which game do you want to talk about?
Ooh. I mean, I'm just going to start it off right. Steelers, Bengals. That was a Monday night showdown where the Steelers did not look like a playoff team.
Yeah.
And yet they've already locked a playoff spot and have a possibility of locking up the division this week.
So I think absolutely 0 people thought that was going to happen. Like, even Bengals fans were definitely going in there, like, ready for an ass whooping.
Yeah.
Yeah, even Joe was not prepared for that.
Yeah, so I think just completely wild game in general.
I turned that game on. Well, what happened was earlier in the day, I saw the Juju, like right before I got home from work, I saw the Juju dancing on the logo, and I'm like, oh, man, wouldn't it be something if the Bengals pulled this one out? So I tuned into the game just to see what was going to happen.
I'll
And
be
I
honest.
saw the physicality from the Bengals, and I'm like, oh, this is not just like a fucking throwaway game. Like, the Bengals are trying as hard as they possibly can. And when Von Bell laid that hit on Juju, oh, man, that was satisfying.
Yeah, I'll be
like
honest.
everyone-
I thought it would probably be at least relatively close because they always play each other close division. But I was a little sleepy, took a nap, didn't watch the game.
Oh,
I'll be
Torch,
honest.
you missed out, dude. I
Yeah, it was
think
pretty good.
it was kind of like they were trying to get Juju back as well from the Vontae's game, where Juju
Did see him get laid out.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Got smacked up.
I think the Bengals, out of any other team, hate Juju the most, I'd say. And then
I
for
feel
him
like
to come in there, that just was extra motivation.
I feel like a lot of teams don't like Juju. I think Juju's a real team pisser offer.
Especially
here-
Javon Kinlaw from the 49ers.
Here's my question to you
Get there.
guys. A lot of people say that it doesn't matter that he did that before the games and that Von Bell like would have hit him just as hard anyways because they're always looking for big hits and stuff. But do you think that him doing that before the games would motivate them anymore, or would
I don't think that it necessarily would maybe it would still happen, but I think it definitely adds a little extra fuel to the fire, especially
Yeah.
when you're playing a divisional rival. You're already gassed up, and then someone does something like that, you're absolutely raring to go.
I don't know if it was because of him doing it that game, but just the fact that he was doing it so much beforehand, like I feel like that would make Von Bell like distinctly want to do that to
yeah,
him.
because he knew
And,
he'd
like,
get the clout?
Yeah, he's already planning on doing it, you know?
I felt
And
like just
Juju,
yeah.
Go
Go
ahead.
ahead, Huff.
Juju's got to be able to step up. If he's going to be doing that, dancing on people's logos, you can't have 3 catches for 15 yards
Yeah,
and a fumble.
Yeah.
like when T.O. did that, T.O. scored a touchdown in the middle of the game, did it, then scored another touchdown, did it again. A guy had to beat him up and take him off the logo. That's the
Yeah,
that's how you do it.
Yeah, Juju's kind of the opposite of what T.O. did. Like, I feel like Juju will dance before the game, not really talk that much shit during the game, and then if the Steelers win, he'll go on Twitter and talk shit after the game. Like, if you're gonna talk shit, lay it out on the field.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Just like Von Bell laid him out on the field.
Yeah,
Oh
exactly.
man.
Not a
Yeah,
whole
yeah.
lot of shit talk was probably coming out of him after that game, though.
Now
I'd
he's
be
going to be like the meme for like a week and a half.
probably, probably.
I feel like
I'm
the
just-
past couple weeks he's been the meme. Because against the Bills, I don't know if you saw like Josh Allen in the
No,
tunnel, they had him mic'd up.
I'm talking like just specifically like the hit.
Oh no, yeah, the
Could
hit.
be, yeah.
Did you see Von Bell on Twitter was like he already has T-shirts made and stuff. He's
Yeah.
trying to sell them. Like that is the highlight of his NFL career. It's
I
so
didn't see
crazy.
that. That's fantastic.
Yeah, he's going crazy. He retweeted like 10 different of the same video from different accounts. He's just like he's living it up right now. He was definitely looking for that hit, in my opinion. But yeah, it's a good game. That was a hell of a game.
Definitely
now,
a solid one.
Twaroski, what game are you looking to talk about?
Let's see. I see one sticking out to me right from the get-go, but I want to see if there's any I'd rather talk about more. And realistically, over the week, not too much that I'm more interested in. So I'm just gonna take the low-hanging fruit. I'd like to talk about the Jets, the New York Football Jets,
Oh man.
taking down the Rams. I did watch that game. I thought it was a pretty entertaining game. The Jets defense looked like they were out to definitely win the game. Their offense didn't seem to be doing too much, but and yeah, that's another thing. With that win, they very much could lose the first overall pick. And the Rams continue to be very up and down. Sometimes they look good, sometimes they look not so good. I will say this week, like as bad as the Jets are, the Jets defense played incredibly well, in my opinion. So
I feel like all the times I've watched the Jets this season, their defense has been pretty good.
yeah.
But like they just fired Greg Williams, but Greg Williams has always been like, if you look at him historically, he's never had a good defense. I don't understand how he always got like a starting defensive coordinator job every year. He
Yeah.
always just sends the house. Like the Raiders, the Jets could have won that game. He sent it out on the last play.
They sure could have.
Oh
I think
man,
he's just a mean and grisly guy, and that's the
Yeah.
only thing he knows how to do.
he's a
And
bounty
football
gate
guys respect that.
head hunting guy. Like when the Bills, our first game against the Jets, I said it on the podcast. They were trying to kill Stephon Diggs. Every time he caught the ball, they were like just murdering him. And every single person who touched the ball, like I felt like he has the bounty gate still going everywhere he goes. Absolutely
Under the table
insane.
bounties.
But ever since he left, now maybe the Jets defense is going to tighten up a little bit.
They definitely were.
engage.
Their defense was definitely playing hot this week. That's for sure. It was a close game, but they managed to hold it off. I think they were up to a decently large lead, and then the Rams started coming back.
Yeah.
I
But
think it was 17-0 at one point.
yeah, but
Another
They managed to
thing
hold it
is
off.
Sam Darnold, if you think about it, he has to be trying as hard as he possibly can if he
Yeah.
even cares about New York
Oh,
at this
yeah.
point, because he knows they're going to draft Trevor Lawrence.
Why
Yeah.
would he care about New York though? What have they really done for him?
I don't know,
But
but
I don't even think it's much about if he cares about New York, but it's more like
screwing the
if
Jets
he,
over.
well, not even screwing the Jets, but if he plays well and wins games, he's at least going to probably have a starting position for sure. If they draft Trevor
Yeah.
Lawrence, you're not guaranteed that necessarily anywhere.
He
You
doesn't
might
wanna
get it
get
somewhere,
Josh
but you don't
Rosen
know.
And
Exactly.
yeah,
But speaking of Trevor Lawrence, I'm excited a bit, but I'm reeling those expectations back because there's still 2 games left. Don't want to count any chickens before they hatch, but real pumped.
It is.
Oh, I
It
bet.
is looking
Jaguars
good.
play.
Did they play the Bears this week?
So they play the Bears and then they play the Colts.
oh, those are 2 good football teams.
They are
but
2 good football teams.
I think there's a chance they accidentally beat the Colts again.
Really?
I think that could happen just because, they could fuck it up. I don't know.
Who's in the
But-
lead for the division? The Titans or the Colts?
Definitely the Titans, I think.
We'll look at that. I actually have that on the rundown somewhere.
Yeah, I'm looking right now.
But either way, so this game, not only did it give the Jaguars a chance at Trevor
The
Lawrence,
Titans, yeah.
it also
Yeah, they're tied up in wins,
made the
but I'm not sure who's
Rams
winning.
record worse, which gives the Jaguars a better second first-round draft pick.
Oh, I didn't even think about that.
I wasn't thinking about that either.
Yeah, from the
The Rams
Ramsey
play the
trade.
Seahawks too next week.
Yeah, it was a double whammy game for me of goodness. The only thing that would have made the week better is if Yannick Ngakoue would have made the Pro Bowl, but he didn't.
And here's the thing. I think he won the fan vote, but they don't care about the fan. Like the fan vote is 1/3 of the voting. So when it came to the GMs and the coaches or whatever, they're like, no, that's ridiculous. But yeah, ultimately that would have been cool if he got in there and just screwed the Vikings over.
Yeah, that would have been awesome.
But yeah, so okay, if the Titans are in the lead of the division, then the Colts have to, like, they're teetering on the wild card spot. So
But I would imagine they're looking pretty good for a wild card. I think they're like 10-4.
yeah,
They're
10
both 10-4.
But the
Yeah.
Dolphins are 9-5, and the Ravens are 8-7. So theoretically, they would have to win at least one of the next 2 games.
Yeah.
And they play the Steelers, and then they play the Jaguars. So if they lose to the Steelers, they're gonna have to go as hard as possible against the Jaguars.
Yeah. But realistically, if they do beat the Steelers, if they lock up a wild card, they might not care about their spots. Maybe they rest some people, and maybe the Jaguars do accidentally cop another dub.
Oh man, yeah.
That was not only
Looking optimistically, Twaroski's like, oh, but you're missing Ray Putty.
Yeah,
So-
if that happens, then not only do they secure the wild card, but they fuck a divisional opponent out of a quarterback.
Oh shit.
Sit Phillip
So-
Rivers at rest.
2 things. I don't know if the Jets are going to win another game, but that would obviously help out a lot.
Yeah, I would. I don't know who they play, but
The Browns and the Patriots.
okay. Well, the Browns isn't looking too
Belichick might want
promising.
to fuck him
but
out of it.
Yeah, I could see Belichick not wanting to
Yeah.
play Trevor Lawrence for 10 years or
Yeah.
20 years.
Belichick, but can you realistically see Belichick throwing a game? I can't see
Yeah.
that in my life.
I feel
I
like
think
if it
that-
came down to that, maybe.
I think the ultimate
I've never seen
tactician
him
in
not
an
in the
already
playoffs.
lost season, why wouldn't he get a better draft pick and
True.
not let the Jets?
I guess that's true, but
I don't know.
I don't know.
But this week there's a quarterback competition in Jacksonville between Gardner
Oh, boy.
Minshew and Mike Glennon. Doug Marrone is having them
Yes.
duke it out all week, and whoever he thinks is better is going to start the game.
That's 2
I don't-
high-powered options.
I don't know. I don't know how it has been Gardner and Minshew the whole time. Mike Lennon has not looked good.
Huffy's reaction alone tells me all I need to know about that quarterback. He
So-
heard you say Mike Glenn, and he's like,
Listen, rumor has it.
"Oh no!"
it's Huffy.
There
He's
he's back.
back.
He's back.
There he is. Rumor has it, it's an ultimate tank move by Doug Marrone, who's splitting their reps so neither of them are prepared for the game.
Oh man, do you think
High IQ.
he's goosing about the about actually trying to win?
I don't know.
Because he has said that since day one.
So there was a thing that came out that said Doug Marrone, like, very well might have a job there next year somehow. So
I could see it. They haven't said anything about him.
what if Shad Khan was just like, hey, you're going to be here. Would you telling me you don't want this guy?
Yeah. Oh, man. And the thing is about Doug Marrone, he always has decent defenses where he goes, and he has like tough football teams. I feel like he just never has like a superstar quarterback or anything, or like the guy to carry him offensively. But I don't know. I don't trust Doug Marrone with Trevor Lawrence.
It's tough.
Yeah, I don't trust Doug Marrone at all after what he did to the Bills, to be honest.
Listen, I don't want Doug Marrone there, but if it gets Trevor Lawrence there and we're losing, I'm fine with it.
How do you feel about getting Zach Wilson or Justin Fields instead?
Yeah.
I don't want that. Justin Fields is like bad against good teams, and I don't know enough about Zach Wilson.
Who's
Sometimes
Zach Wilson play for?
BYU.
yeah.
Okay.
Sometimes the tank pays off. I think last year the Bengals very obviously tanked.
Yeah.
When they benched Andy Dalton, that was a
The
very
most
obvious
tank
tank
move.
move. He was by far the best quarterback on their roster.
Nobody seemed to talk about them.
They
tanking
literally
anymore.
would have won probably like 3 or 4 at least games more,
Yeah.
and they're like, nah. And I mean, it worked for them until he died. But
Yeah. It's unfortunate. I think his knee injury was so catastrophic. They were saying he might not even play next year.
yeah, I know they were saying maybe not next year, but maybe even if it was next year, maybe like mid-season. But like, I don't even know if the Bengals would risk that when it's your franchise quarterback who's looking hot.
And they still need to rebuild for. Well,
Yeah.
after what I saw against the Steelers,
That's true. Maybe they don't need a rebuild.
they
Maybe
got
next
some
year's
heart.
the playoff.
Maybe they just need. Yeah. I mean,
we should probably dive into another game though. I feel like we've been.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Huffy, which one would you like to talk about? It took a little side road, but that's okay.
I'm going to have to go with this Cardinals-Eagles game and the
Go Birds.
performance Jalen Hurts put on.
Go Birds.
Yeah.
It's pretty crazy, kind of.
I was frankly impressed with his quarterback play.
I have a couple of words I'd like to say about the game, and
Please do. And then I have a question for you.
Those couple of words are "Go Birds."
Literally a couple.
So, Twaroski, my question for you is, what do you do with Carson Wentz?
I don't know. Like I was like, I'll be honest, I was not on the bull bandwagon of Jalen Hurts. Like I was like, he could be something, he could not be. But these last 2 games, he's played really fucking well.
Yeah.
Like I don't know if that's gonna hold up. Hopefully it does. But like he's playing well, and like he's making a lot of moves, not only on the ground but in the air too. And what do you do with Carson Wentz? I don't know. Like, I feel like you have to do something with it. If you decide that Jalen Hurts is going to be the quarterback of the future, then you have to move Carson Wentz because his contract's so large. If you don't, he's just going to eat the whole roster up. You're not going to be able to build anything.
What is it, like
$1 billion? $2 or $3 billion?
It's
not really, but
it's
like it's a lot of money.
100 million probably.
Yeah, I think he's on like the top 5 or 8 like highest paid quarterbacks
per year, like 25 million.
It was like a pre-Patrick Mahomes big contract.
Yeah.
He signed through 2024, 4 years, 128 million.
What do you do? I don't know.
He definitely needs to change his scenery.
I think Carson Wentz is still a good quarterback. I think that he had a bad year, and he also had to deal with a lot of injuries on the entire team.
Yeah.
But you might be able to find a place that fits him. Like, I could definitely see maybe like New England trying to get a hold of someone like Carson Wentz, putting him behind Bill Belichick, building a team around him.
As a Bills fan, I hope they stick with Cam Newton. Cam Newton is garbage nowadays, throwing the ball.
So in 2021, Carson Wentz is going to make 15.4 million.
Jeez.
Yeah, it's but at the same time, like,
and if
these next 2 weeks, Jalen Hurts lays an egg.
That's
then
true.
you're gonna have then
I
you're
would
gonna
like
have
a
a
bigger
real
sample
tough off
size.
season. Then you're gonna have a real if he plays really well the next 2 weeks, then I feel like the Eagles probably are gonna move on. But if Jalen Hurts plays bad the next 2 weeks, then you're gonna have a real tough off season.
Jalen
feel
Hurts
like-
in just his second start had more yards than Carson Wentz has ever had with Philadelphia.
Yeah.
He had over 300 yards, which Josh Allen didn't. He played 2 whole seasons without getting 300 yards, and then this season he got his first 300-yard game.
Bro,
In a
last week, I think it was something crazy. Like it was a crazy amount of games the Saints went without allowing a 100-yard rusher, and then the Eagles played them and they had 200-yard rushers against them. I think Jalen Hurts had over 100 yards and Miles Sanders had over 100 yards.
Miles
Yeah, it was
Sanders
like
is a beast.
58 games.
Yeah, it was in the 50s. I'm not exactly sure how many, but
The weird thing about Jalen Hurts too is I don't even have a good feel on him from college, because I remember when he played at Alabama, he was a horrible passing quarterback and he was more like a power running quarterback. Because I don't know if
Yeah.
you know, he holds like Texas powerlifting records. Like he has like an 800-pound squat or something.
Got strong legs.
Yeah, he's a Bama. Like he was a Bama Haas QB, and they were just running him through people's faces. And then
Yep.
he got benched for Tua or whatever in the championship, couldn't play, went to Oklahoma and switched to that like spread offense and absolutely lit it up. So
Yeah.
maybe he is the truth. Like,
I mean, in Alabama though, they didn't even really ask him to throw the ball.
No,
Like
they
Nick Saban built offense around him not having to throw the ball downfield because he knew that was his best choice. But I mean, he proved in Oklahoma that he could throw it downfield, and he's showed at least flashes the last couple of games that he can do it in the NFL. So who knows? Maybe Bull was onto something.
Yeah, maybe so. we have to get with Bull on this one. Also,
Yeah.
I'd like to say when I watched the Eagles, it felt like their offense was like much more energized with Jalen Hurts at the helm than
I definitely agree.
That just happens with a change of quarterback.
It
though. Like,
does.
they'll settle down eventually. Alshon Jeffrey will slow down again.
Alshon Jeffrey will get hurt again.
Yeah.
Probably. Like, how many games did Alshon Jeffrey actually play with Carson Wentz? Like maybe one this entire year. He was hurt the whole year. All their skill positions were hurt this year.
And
Also,
it's not
I think
like
it was
they
like
have any good receivers outside of him, really. Like maybe
also
Travis Fulgham.
also I will say like their offensive line's just starting to get like at least a little healthier. They're still missing some pieces, but like Lane Johnson just came back for like when Jalen Hurts was coming in. He's been missing like the whole season.
And that's one of the best.
So
tackles
yeah,
in
that's
football.
like it's a real good tackle to just be missing.
And I know Brandon Brooks is out, right?
Yeah,
He's
he
been
was
hurt the
out
whole
since.
season.
Yeah, he was out. I think he got hurt in the preseason. He hasn't played all year.
That's like
Is Jason Kelsey still on the line?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a beast. I saw him run block, and he like gets to the
Got that
second
mullet
level
out there.
faster than anyone I've ever seen.
Yeah, the Eagles offensive line I think is still in a really, really good place, but they've had injuries over the last couple of years. But I've talked about the Birds a lot. I'll pass it on.
It's good. We need Bird's takes on here. I'll quickly do Buccaneers Falcons, I guess. But pretty cool that Tom Brady can just like do that again to the Falcons.
Yeah, the Falcons were out to a lead, weren't they?
Yeah, kind
Yeah.
of he just owns Matt Ryan. I guess.
I got this one friend at work who's from Atlanta, and he says that all his friends back home are calling them the Falcons because they failed to get jobs.
That's pretty funny. We might
I
have
know.
to top that.
I know a couple of Falcons fans, and at least one of them, they might not be the most diehard football fan, but yeah, they're real on the verge of just not being a Falcons fan anymore. They're like, I don't even want to watch football. This isn't a fun team to watch at all.
I saw this on Twitter. They're like, I feel like they're going to enter a rebuild phase definitely because it might have been like the owner or somebody, maybe Arthur Blank said it, that their next GM, if they're going to hire a new GM, their next GM, if they feel like moving on from Matt Ryan and Julio Jones would benefit the team,
Wow.
that he would allow them to do it. So
You
imagine
could,
because they played better without. I love Julio. They've
I
played
do
better
too.
without Julio.
You definitely could still get a good return out of Julio though if you were to trade him.
You
So
get
I think
at
that's
minimum
I think
a
that's a
second round
move.
pick.
I feel like there's no youth on the Falcons except for like Calvin Ridley.
I mean, Calvin
Ridley.
Ridley's a pretty good youth to have though.
Well,
I know, but just one on a whole team.
I don't know about that
kinda
because their
dusty.
defense, they got Grady Jarrett's still young. I think he's less than 26. Deion Jones is like 25 or 24. Keanu Neal's pretty young. AJ Terrell's playing good. Yeah, Keanu Neal's like 24.
Yeah, he's young.
He's just been hurt like past 2 seasons.
And they're on track to have the 5th overall pick too.
The only reason I don't want to jump the gun on him too much is because I was very wrong about the Panthers. I thought that the Panthers were about to go into a crazy hard rebuild.
Yeah.
But they wound up putting together a lot of players that played well. They played almost the whole year without Christian McCaffrey. Like he's played like 2 or 3 games.
Yeah.
And they've looked good even without him. Like before the year, I thought they honestly would have benefited from like trading him for some capital, but they're putting something together, and like once he comes back, like I think they actually could like contend.
Huffy, you say they have the 5th pick right now?
They're on track to have the 5th pick, yeah.
So what if they traded Julio and like drafted Jamar Chase at 5?
Oh my God, Calvin Ridley and Jamar Chase. Oh, that's a potent offense right there.
And they sign Jameis Winston.
I don't know.
With the 2020?
You also have to find a buyer for Julio though, because like Julio's definitely going to fetch something, but you got to find someone that's going to buy him.
You don't think Bill Belichick would go for a Julio next year with a
Bill Belichick's not that type of guy.
He's not going to give you very much for him.
Yeah, Bill Belichick's not buying him.
He was a 6th round pick. Take it or leave it.
I think Julio
you could definitely find someone that'll buy, but I don't think that
the thing is though,
will.
Belichick just traded a 2nd round pick for Mohamed Sanu, who is absolute garbage, and then he didn't even play him and he released
that's true.
So what the fuck? Belichick doesn't even hit on his like draft picks, like his 1st round picks. We covered this like a couple of podcasts ago. Like I don't think he's had a Pro Bowler since 2013 that he's drafted.
Yeah.
He just doesn't do good through the draft. If I were him, I'd trade all my picks just for star players.
And even back then, all of the picks that were Pro Bowlers were usually in like the 2nd or 3rd round. Like they weren't even the 1st round picks that they took.
Yeah.
And that's actually and that is the Patriots MO. They always trade back in the draft. Maybe that's why they aren't getting Pro Bowlers in the draft, is they are notorious for trading their picks to get more picks.
There was another conspiracy theory that Belichick, so your coach nominates your Pro Bowl people. And there was a conspiracy theory that Belichick just doesn't nominate anyone because in every contract, there's like a Pro Bowl stipulation where you have to pay them more if they make the Pro Bowl. Because J.C. Jackson this year had like 8 picks and Belichick didn't nominate him for the Pro Bowl. He like led the league in interceptions or something, or was close.
Not good enough. I don't think he leads the league because I think
it was Xavier
he's
Howard,
definitely he's definitely close. But yeah, Howard's the one that plays on the Dolphins, right?
I think he was leading.
There's
and
only
Belichick was like,
so many cornerbacks.
Yeah. But I'm just saying that's a conspiracy floating around the internet there I saw.
So speaking of conspiracies, I think that would be a good time to hop into this week's edition of the Twitterverse.
The Twitterverse.
Yeah. So some people think the coronavirus is one big conspiracy.
Yeah.
And one of those people might possibly be Washington football team quarterback Dwayne Haskins, who hopefully, as you can see in this picture, was recently spotted at some sort of strip club wearing no mask.
And as you can see, there's a pair of booty cheeks about, what would you say, like 2 feet away from his nose?
Oh, that might
2 feet away. Dude, he's literally rubbing up on people. Also, I gotta say, I understand it's the thing for strip clubs, but you're an NFL player. Why you're bringing once to the club? Like,
has a
come on,
fat
come
one.
Here's
on.
what's
You
so
got, you got
crazy.
money.
Alex
that-
Smith finally
Got
goes
that
down.
rookie contract.
Dwayne Haskins finally gets the starting job. They're actually in the playoffs as of right now. And he
he's like,
immediately
"Fuck
goes
it."
to the strip club. Like,
Listen, he's young. He was celebrating. He already apologized.
he did apologize. And
What was he celebrating?
Actually
His-
playing football, I guess.
yeah,
Yeah, but he-
getting the start
Also,
over Alex
that-
Smith.
He apologized for playing poorly. He's like, I really got to step my game up if we're going to make the playoffs. 3 hours later, is massless at a strip club.
No, he apologized for the strip club thing.
Now, do you
He,
think these
I believe
strippers
he
have
also did
interacted?
apologize for playing bad. Though.
Oh no.
Do you think these strippers have interacted with a bunch of other people maskless, and they could potentially have the coronavirus?
Yes,
Like,
of course.
yeah.
But also,
I'm not much of a strip club connoisseur, but I know a couple of people that are, and they said that they've been to them, and there are no masks in the strip clubs. None.
Hunter, you're a big
Also-
fan of this type of activity, aren't you?
what they call them, adult ballets.
The adult ballet.
Yeah. What I will say about this, if I'm using some deductive reasoning here, they kind of just look like they're in somebody's house. Like it doesn't necessarily look like a strip club to
Do you
me.
think
I
he's gonna pull a
mean-
James Harden?
Mm.
What's that mean?
James Harden was caught at like a strip club earlier this week, and earlier today he was like, I was actually like celebrating my wife's something happened with his wife. He was trying to flip the story. The NBA cracked down and still fined him like $50,000 or something.
Yeah. But no, I don't know that he's pulling a James Harden. He just looks like he's at some sort of like house party where there's some ladies doing some stripping.
I mean, he could be, but
No.
still not probably the ideal move
No,
to have
no,
outside
no.
people just randomly in a house.
But you know, a good role model, Dan Schneider, is going to sit him down and talk to him and tell him about more.
if we know
offers
anything
best-
about good role models, it's Dan Snyder.
I was gonna
Yeah.
say, have you guys heard the latest news on Dan Snyder?
What's the
Uh,
latest news?
Some sort of settlement.
No. This is within
New.
48 hours.
Oh, then I didn't see it.
I think like it might have been like 15 or so women have came out, and this is separate from the Washington Post or whatever that expose on him was.
Yeah.
Like 15, like a significant amount of women have come out and said that he was sexually harassing them. And it's
So
like
again-
brand new cases.
Again, if there's anything we know about Dan Snyder, it's he's a stand-up man.
Now,
Yeah.
is he encouraging Dwayne Haskins to get out there and let loose, blow
He
off the
might
steam?
be. What if he
Get the
actually?
COVID 2 weeks before the playoffs so that he's quarantined in and doesn't have it when they
Probably
reach
be
the
looking.
playoffs?
What if Dan Snyder was telling Dwayne Haskins to do all this stuff to get the COVID so he could infect other teams with the COVID and just ruin the
Jeez.
NFL?
Oh, man. Dan Snyder's just diabolical enough to do that.
They're not even going to test Dwayne Haskins, right? They're just going to send him out into the game.
No.
Yeah, he got a talking to. He's fine.
And he lost the captainship.
But I am.
Oh
fine with
yeah,
Dwayne Haskins.
why did he even have it? That's
That's what a
insane.
lot of people want to know. Apparently, it was his girlfriend's birthday party where strippers were present, and that's his girlfriend.
Okay,
With arms around.
See, it's definitely
fair
at
enough.
Huff. I know
Fair
that's.
I'm glad we have Huff here because Huff looks
Okay,
into the
well,
story.
Good work on the deep dive, Huffy.
Thank you.
Good fact checker. But yeah, Dwayne Haskins, he's gonna be fine. We have Jerry Rice calling out Randy Moss. Apparently, Jerry Rice had this to say about winning rings. If Randy wants to be number one, that's fine. My main thing is that it was all about the rings.
I mean, that's
So-
just a classic,
He's the GOAT.
yeah, that's a classic goat
You
move.
think Jerry Rice is the GOAT?
I
It's
have
all about the ring.
I have a
That's-
few words
that's
to say
the-
about it.
Is it Go Birds?
Twaroski,
That's when I say a couple words. When I have a few words, I'm actually going to say
yeah, we
something.
got a few. We got a few.
We got a few.
And Twaroski
don't
knows
like-
a thing or two about goats. He's got Michael Jordan behind him.
True. What's going on, Michael?
Resident GOAT expert.
Now I can kind of understand when they bring like the ring argument into like a quarterback thing because the quarterback at the end of the day is pretty much like the most important position and everything. But I don't think you can bring the rings thing into a wide receiver thing.
No.
You're not going to win a championship just by being the best wide receiver in the league. It's never going to happen. Like, for years and years, DeAndre Hopkins was probably the best wide receiver in the league, and he was on one of the worst teams. He was still putting up insane seasons, but they weren't winning ships because of him.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say Jerry Rice isn't the best wide receiver, because he did put up crazy numbers, and he definitely could be. I will say Randy Moss is probably my favorite receiver, but I would still put Jerry Rice like slightly above him, in my opinion.
Now, Huff, I know you are probably the most wide receiver oriented person out of this group. You're a big wide receiver guy. What's your thoughts on this?
What I'm going to say is Jerry Rice has 3 more rings to Randy's 0 and 8,000 receiving yards to Randy's.
Yeah, but he played with Joe Montana and Steve Young. Yeah.
Also, Huffy, how many years did they both play? Didn't Jerry Rice play for damn near 30 years?
Randy played 14.
Oh, okay.
Randy played for 14?
Yep.
That is insane. Randy
Twaroski,
seemed like he retired so
him
early.
Against me on Madden.
Oh,
shit.
Huffy, you said Jerry was 20?
Yeah, 85 to 04.
That's insane, though, for a wide receiver to play that long.
I mean, that's like Larry now.
So I think you can come at this from different angles. Like Randy Moss is obviously one of the most, if not the most physically gifted guy. And like,
yeah, I'd say that.
Obviously, he's scarier as like a deep threat, or like if you're going to moss someone up. But if you want a guy to play 20 years of consistent, get moving the chains,
running routes,
answering questions right, real boringly, like nothing, no locker room stuff,
Real team guy.
You want Jerry Rice.
Jerry Rice probably has some skeletons in his closet.
Oh, I'm sure he does. Look at the
they
smile.
haven't been uncovered yet.
Look at the smile on this picture. Yeah. Oh man.
No.
Yeah, I'd say between Jerry Rice and Randy, I consider him like definitely the 1 and 2 of all time, if not like the 1A and 1B. But I definitely put Jerry a little bit above Randy.
Twaroski, I think the 1 and 2 are Calvin and Randy.
Yeah, the potential real GOAT might be Calvin. He's a bigger, stronger Randy. A little bit less speed, a little bit less jump.
No, way less speed. Randy had so much speed.
Randy, all right, he might have ran like a gazelle.
The last thing gazelle I'll say about Jerry Rice is that in this picture, not only does he have a slightly menacing smile, but he's wearing a hat that says GOAT.
He also has his nose turned down like he's some sort of witch.
Yeah. It also appears like his left eye is drifting off kilter.
Kind of. And I mean, if anybody does want to know, he has an earring, a small silver hoop.
But I think that settles the GOAT argument here.
Yeah, absolutely. More important, we don't have any Packers merch this week, but we might have something almost as good.
I mean, it's technically Packers merch.
Yeah.
Yeah. So hopefully you're seeing this image, but apparently someone unearthed an old photo of someone in like the Civil War or something. And it looks exactly like Aaron Rodgers, down to the mustache.
But it says on eBay, which means it technically is merch.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, you're 100% right. So this is Packers merch. Wow.
Now, I would like to see like a 23andMe or like an Ancestry.com if we could somehow trace Aaron Rodgers back to this guy.
That'd be crazy.
Maybe this guy was like a pig farmer and he would like toss the pig skins after they skinned him. He got real good. It passed down to Aaron.
I don't know why they used the picture of Aaron Rodgers clearly after the game. He got injected with that stuff.
I will
His
say,
eyes were
Oh,
like,
man.
whoa.
I
You're
was
right,
gonna
dude.
I was gonna mention that I've actually never seen that picture of Aaron Rodgers, and he looks like a serial killer. It's insane.
I bet you if you used a normal picture of Aaron Rodgers, he wouldn't look as close to that guy. I mean, that guy still is pretty close.
I
But
to
think
like
resemble.
it would look
Aaron
close.
Rodgers is like elongating his face and stuff.
Yeah,
Like
that's
I don't know.
about.
I think you could find pictures that would make it look closer.
I do too.
You think so?
I
Yeah,
do.
Oh,
because
man.
I
his
agree.
eyes are just huge.
I think they
But-
probably use that picture because the mustache is the most similar. That's
Yeah.
honestly what I would think.
That's fair.
So Huffy, as our resident kind of like spiritual, not religious guy.
Wow.
That's my title. Okay.
Yeah, are you cool with that?
Don't ever try to
That's-
run for office as a Republican, huh?
If I've ever known Huffy, that's what I've known him as.
If
Yeah.
Of
Um,
course.
I had to choose one adjective to describe Huff, it would be resident non-spiritual guy.
Yeah, that's no. Not religious but spiritual.
Oh, not religious but spiritual. Okay, fair.
Yeah. So Huffy, do you think this is a case of someone who looks like somebody? Do you think this is a case of reincarnation, or do you think this is like a Photoshop scenario?
I think Aaron Rodgers has a deep connection to the ether, and that this is actually Aaron Rodgers.
Oh, so he's
Yeah.
like
Interesting.
immortal,
He's potentially a
He
time
can time
traveler.
jump. He can
Okay.
time jump.
like Hayden Christensen and jump.
Are you
Mhm.
trying to say that Aaron Rodgers might just be a time lord?
Mhm.
Yes.
So Huff, you
Wow.
don't think God is just repeating templates from old people that he already made?
I don't
getting,
think God has a say over Aaron Rodgers.
he's
Okay.
getting lazy at this point, just mass producing them.
Just
Mass producing Aaron Rodgers.
That's an
reusing the
interesting
same
thought.
concept.
I mean, there's a lot of people, or there have been a lot of people. Some of them are bound to look exactly like the other ones.
But speaking of legendary quarterbacks,
Oh god.
this this next tweet, I was pretty shocked to find that the NFL changed their Twitter header to
Oh, were you shocked?
to Josh Allen. Does this mean that he's the new face of the NFL?
It could mean that.
Do they,
I will say the NFL Twitterverse has gotten pretty wild this year.
Is the NFL like hinting at Josh Allen being the MVP potentially?
I
Huff
didn't
says
see
yes.
I didn't see. I think this was before you guys did the Twitter rundown thing, but you guys might have seen it. Like back when the Lions like got a big win, the official Lions page changed their profile picture to a Photoshop picture of like literally just a pimp with a pimp jacket on, but they'd Photoshopped Matt Stafford's face on it.
Oh
Hey.
jeez.
So their team's not very good.
NFL Twitter's getting wild this year.
Yeah. I mean, these social media, the people who run the social media accounts, they're wilding now.
Oh yeah, they're starting to hire some Zoomers for that role.
They're not as wild as the Slim Jim account.
Mhm.
What's going on with the Slim Jim account?
You should follow Slim Jim on
I'm
Instagram
also
to
I'm
figure it
also
out.
I'm
mean,
still
I'll give it
locked
a
out
look.
of my Instagram. Have been for about 2 years.
Just make a new one.
I
They
did
have my
only.
IP address.
I made a new one just to follow the Bro Football Focus podcast, and that's it.
Oh,
Nice.
Oh.
respect
Which
that,
you should
Twaroski.
do at
That's
Pro
a-
Football Focus. Also, Slim Jim. That would be a sick sponsorship. So feel free to reach out.
I'll see if I can send them an email or something potentially to like maybe like a marketing person or
Oh yeah, Roger Goodell and I right behind you.
yeah, we have some pretty good guests.
Yeah, but for Instagram, apparently, they just won't let me recover my old account. And it was logged into my old phone, which was the only way I ever logged into it. And one time I got drunk and fell in a ditch and broke my phone into like a 90-degree angle. And that phone died, obviously. So no more Instagram for me.
That's
Might be for the
unfortunate.
best.
Probably.
The whole next chunk of this is kind of just all like bad juju around the Steelers.
Yeah.
Oh,
Uh-oh.
Oh,
No, keep
Huff.
going. The show must go on. He'll
okay,
give-
Show
he'll come
must
back.
go on.
He'll
Okay.
come back.
Okay. Oh, there he is. So maybe he was trying to add a fun background.
No, the battery's about to die.
Oh, that's why I
Oh,
gave you the charger.
that's-
Jesus.
Plug in break. All right, keep going, Hunter.
Um,
Anti juju.
Yeah, no, some bad juju around the Steelers. I feel like that should be a newspaper headline somewhere.
Oh, that's
Hunter,
a good
you could be
headline.
a
Bad
clippy
juju.
headline writer, dude.
Bad
Exactly.
juju is a fantastic headline.
That's what I'm saying, because it's like a little double entendre.
When we get the clips
Maybe-
going, you can be
may-
a titler, dude.
Maybe not even a news headline. Maybe the title of episode 32 of the Bro Football Focus.
Woo!
Bad juju
That's what I
thumbnail,
would do.
juju like on the bench after the hit.
That is a
Just
titillating
saying.
title.
A giant red arrow pointing to Juju, even though he's the only thing on the street.
That's the way to do it. That's the way to do it.
So this first one, we have a screenshot from Juju's own Instagram where he is screenshotting his own DMs. He gets a DM from San Francisco 49ers rookie defensive tackle Javon Kinlaw that says, "Them boys hit yo jigging ass out that Corvette, huh?"
Now, the song he was dancing to was called Corvette, apparently.
Yeah.
But
So Juju on the screen says, "Yo, tell this female stay out my DMs." Another grown ass man, face like this. So I don't know. I think Juju's just being a sourpuss.
I
See,
think he's
this
being a sourpuss too.
I think this is just another situation where, like, if Juju wants to talk all kinds of shit, he's got to back it up on the field.
Absolutely. But
If
why?
you're gonna talk so much shit, play like one of the best receivers in the league.
Exactly.
My thing is, why would you even like screenshot and write
Yeah.
your own thing on this? Why not just like ignore it?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Now,
That's
do you
what.
think he
That's
would?
what most. I'm sure a lot of players get this type of shit all the time, and they just
Yeah.
toss it to the side because they're like, I'm better than this.
You think this is not the first DM Javon Kinlaw has slid in? You think he's a shit talker?
Javon Kinlaw is just the biggest Juju hater.
Because
What if
now I
next
like
week-
Javon a lot more.
Yeah,
Next week, Juju screenshot something. It's just like 40 DMs over the course of the year.
Every bad play Juju has. Dude, I feel like Javon Kinlaw. You think Juju's gonna say this to him in real life, though? You think he's gonna call him a female? That man is 6'5",
oh,
330.
Yeah. Juju's probably a
Juju's-
puss in real
He'll
life.
talk on Instagram. He'll dance on your logo, but he's not gonna say that to Javon Kinlaw's face.
No,
lot of
not
flip
a
fingers,
chance.
Not a whole lot of trigger fingers.
And I'll say this about Javon: a man that large who will slide into another NFL player's DMs like that, talking shit. He's probably about that life.
Yeah, I will
wonder
say, although I'm
if,
not an official member, I will say I can assume that this is a pro Javon Kinlaw podcast.
Yeah, yeah.
Absolutely.
I'll put that stamp of approval on here right now.
I think Javon Kinlaw almost was a contestant in The Biggest Nasties.
Oh, was
Yeah.
he?
He definitely could have.
I also think when we were discussing the draft, we were pretty high on him.
Absolutely. But other Pittsburgh Steelers wide receiver, Chase Claypool, as we all know, a little while ago tweeted, actually on my birthday, he tweeted this, "Losing? Never heard of her."
Yeah.
And since then, I think they've lost 3 straight.
Yeah,
made
hasn't
sure-
hasn't been good.
I saved this one when he tweeted it because I'm like, this will come back at some point.
Yeah.
This will-
And
But-
this
oh,
next
man.
one, you know the team's not playing good because a reporter asked Ben Roethlisberger about critics saying he's done and his career is over. And Ben Roethlisberger, in quotes, said, "I don't blame them when I'm playing like poo."
There's only one comment I want to make about this, and it's about fantasy football, and it is about the recent Huffy versus Trench game. Trench actually
Aw.
messaged me on Snapchat and asked me if he should play Jalen Hurts over Ben Roethlisberger. And I said that it might be a good idea.
Oh.
And he said, I only was gonna. He did say that he was probably gonna play him, but he was like, if you said that you didn't really believe in him, I was gonna sit him.
So this is why Twaroski is pro Trench.
I'm
He
pro
feels like
Trench.
he has
I'm-
a part of Trench being in the championship.
I'm
Look at
pro.
him
Tre-
thinking in
I-
his seat right now.
I'm pro Trench only because I think I'm the only person in the league that's pro Trench other than Trench.
Oh.
Everyone wants Trench to lose. He's never won a shit, boys.
Yeah.
Give him one.
Yeah, we're just haters. We love Trench.
Not necessarily true. I want Casey to win.
Casey's
And
never won either.
Casey's never won a ship, but he's been in the league for
And
like 2 years.
His team was auto drafted.
It
Casey's,
was.
Casey's favorite food isn't a liquid.
We should also mention real quick that Huff would have won that game if the Steelers would have got one more sack, I believe.
Yeah.
His defense like needed one more point.
Yeah.
The Steelers defense.
It's tragic, but
also unfortunate that the seeding worked out how it did, because I feel like I'm surprised that Huff wasn't playing on the other side of the bracket and Casey wasn't the one that had to play Trench, and Casey would have gotten mopped, and Huffy would have mopped the other person.
It was me and Casey playing.
Eliminate the.
Oh, was it you and Casey? Yeah, that it was a bad game.
Casey beat me and my team shit the bed.
And it was a close game. It was a close game.
Are we
one player more than 5 points, maybe?
Are we eliminating the East and the West?
What do you mean by that?
Can we please do that? That'd be fantastic.
Oh no, that's a tradition.
There's no
Commissioner Twaroski.
I don't know how it works. Like, if you can just eliminate,
you can
divisions, but I could set it up at least so
it makes it based on rank.
Yeah, I could definitely do that. I think that is how it should be.
Wait, do you want Roger to just put everyone in the same pool?
Yes.
I think we should keep
Why don't you
the
say
East
it to
in
his
the
face?
I think we should keep the East and the West, because I like the losers draft at the beginning of the year.
That didn't even happen this year.
Yeah, but I like it.
Yeah, well, this was COVID. This was a pandemic.
I like the losers draft at the beginning of the year, but I can at least make it so like just the top teams get the top places.
As long as it happens next year, that's fine. But
I just want to be in the West, no matter what. I don't care if I make the playoffs. If I'm
after such a disappointing season, I am thinking I'm coming back.
Good. I'm glad to hear that.
No, Twaroski, we need you in the league. You're stable.
I feel like I need to be the commissioner, otherwise the league's bound to go down the shitter.
You're an essential person because you don't have any of the internal evilness that we all possess. That
I don't have
the natural shadow government tendencies. And Hunter, I don't think you can speak on this one honestly, because you did time.
Hunter, you were the head of the shadow government.
I've seen so many shadow governments under Hunter, whether it's Madden, fantasy football, just real life backdoor shady stuff.
Also, I think I'm the perfect commissioner because I don't hold the evilness that leads to a shadow government, but I will lay down the hammer when it needs to be laid down. Like, I think Trench would be a good commissioner. I think Trench would be a good commissioner if he had the ability to lay down the law when it needs to be laid down, but I don't think he holds that in him.
Trench can't collect money. See,
Trench would do things to secretly benefit G-Man, and G-Man wouldn't even know about it.
Oh, he would never do that. Trench would never do that.
I think he would.
Trench would construct a shadow government just to fuck over G-Man, which isn't even necessary because G-Man's probably the... Oh, I think if you went back through the records of the whole history of our league, G-Man probably has the worst record.
Yeah, no,
I think G-Man's made the playoffs like 2 or 3 times.
He's generally down at the bottom, and it's usually because he drafts a couple Browns players. Is what happens.
Which would have been fine this year.
Yeah, no, it would have been fine.
He lost to the death penalty this year. He finished behind the death penalty.
That's true. And we won't speak that person's name.
Oh, no. He was at my house earlier, though.
All right, so let's
played Mario Party together.
The definite topics. All right.
He
did lose. So we were talking about Juju. So Big Ben earlier today held like a players only meeting with like the entire Steelers like player base, and he so basically they announced that was happening. Shortly after that, Juju, all the news came out that he was going to stop dancing on the logos. So
I think that's a good move.
Yeah.
I think Big Ben was a big component of keeping AB under wraps. Although they definitely butted heads towards the end of their stint, but I think he probably was keeping him under wraps behind the scenes even before that.
Yeah.
So, and especially after losing 3 straight games, especially 2 to opponents that you probably mark as a win on the schedule at the beginning of,
yeah,
you definitely got to knock that shit off.
Oh yeah.
Just go out there,
Even-
play football.
Even if it doesn't have anything to do potentially with what happened in the game, as some
Yeah.
people will argue,
Just
it's
go
still
out.
bad juju.
It's like one of those things like go out, play football, let's play our game, win.
Yeah, get back on track.
Exactly.
But yeah,
So
I respect the move by Big Ben there. Someone needed to stand up and do it, I feel like.
For sure.
So, playoff overview. We'll talk about the Pro Bowl real quick. Is there anyone that you guys feel like got slighted?
I mean, I don't think the Pro Bowl really matters that much because of how the voting. I mean, we kind of talked about that.
Yeah. So
There's definitely some snubs, but
your main quip is with Yannick.
no, I don't think that's my main quip. My main quip would be James Robinson not making it.
No, I thought James Robinson should have definitely made it.
He's like third in the league in rushing.
Yeah, he had a hell of a year. I'll be honest, I didn't even know that the results got announced this week. I didn't take a peek at him. I could take a peek at him real quick, but I probably wouldn't be able to
the biggest
add anything
one
to him.
From the Bills, I feel like, is Jordan Poyer, and a lot of people are talking about it because he's balled out the last 3-4 seasons and just not gotten any looks whatsoever. And I think he won the fan vote for safety.
Mm-hmm.
But
I saw his wife posted a spicy picture because she was mad or something.
And she was on Pro Football Focus's spiciest senoritas or hottest wives.
Yeah, check that out in
episode 1 or 2. Yeah.
Wow.
Very well. But yeah, dude.
I just Googled something real quick and I saw that Wyatt Teller did not make the Pro Bowler. That's a
he should
absolute
definitely have made it.
Yeah.
It's probably been the best guard in football this year. So
I also think
it's by a wide margin too.
This may have been the first time Tom Brady hasn't made it in a long time. And I know he he was saying a bunch of stuff like how he doesn't care. He's here for Super Bowls and stuff. But I feel like he cares.
He probably cares, but at the same time,
he does.
He hasn't had he's played well, but he hasn't had an insane season. So I can see it. Yeah. I think Wyatt Teller not making it though is actually kind of insane.
Yeah.
He actually was the best guard in football.
And I think Tom Brady is going to win a Super Bowl, so it doesn't really matter if he makes the Pro Bowl or not.
I don't even think Tom Brady, I'm sure he wants to win more Super Bowls, but even if he doesn't, who cares? The dude's won so many.
He has enough. He has the league.
The Pro Bowl isn't even happening anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, it's more of at the end of your career, if you look at all the Hall of Famers, they always say how many Shannon Sharp on Skip and Shannon to this day.
All Pro is more important.
Well, but they always say Pro Bowl and All Pro selections.
And All Pro is more prestigious to the players, but to the fans, when you talk about Pro Bowls, it's more of a topic that just comes up for some reason.
Yeah,
I don't think it matters that much. What?
I said fans are stupid.
Oh yeah, fans are stupid, but that's why they're 1/3 of the vote for the Pro Bowl.
I can confirm that because I'm pretty dumb.
No, you're not. What do you want to? I mean, we don't really know playoffs quite yet. We know some people are out. We know some people are in for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, the Patriots missing out on the playoffs for the first time in 70 years? That's pretty wild.
What is it, 10 or something?
I think it's between
it's.
I think it might be 11.
They might have
somewhere in there. It's in the 10s.
Yeah.
10, 11, 12, somewhere in there.
It's a significant.
They haven't missed it in a while.
Because they haven't lost the division since I was born.
Yeah.
The Bills haven't won the division since '95, and I think the Jets or no. The Bills.
No, the Jets won it a couple of times.
The Jets won it with Mark Sanchez in 2009, maybe. I think when Tom Brady tore his ACL, I think they won.
Yeah, the Jets went because the Jets went to back-to-back AFC titles. They definitely at least won the division one of those times.
The Patriots missed it in 2008, even though they went 11-5.
Okay, so that's
12 years.
11 years in a row, right?
That
with
was
playoffs, or it's 10 or 11 years straight.
So
maybe
with the playoffs, now Huff, as a Bills fan, the Bills are the 2nd seed right now.
Yeah.
So over the next 2 weeks, we play the Dolphins we play the Patriots and the Dolphins.
Yeah.
If we beat the Patriots and then we go on to play the Dolphins, if we could rest our starters, a lot of people are saying we either rest our starters, let them win, and then they get in the playoffs, and we immediately would play them because we'd be the 2 seed playing the 7th seed.
Interesting.
Or if we went all in and tried to beat them, then we'd knock them out of the playoffs and play Baltimore potentially.
Ugh.
Oh, but the Ravens are
The
could
Dolphins
potentially be a tough team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dolphins
not like-
defense is fantastic.
No,
I
the
was gonna
Dolphins
say-
defense is tough.
Yeah, it's not like the Dolphins aren't good. Like Tua is
No,
good.
honestly, the Dolphins have played better this year than the Ravens, but the Ravens are still a scary
The
team.
Ravens are heating up recently, though.
Yeah.
I'd rather have Lamar throw against our secondary than Tua throw against our secondary.
Really, we haven't faced Tua yet, so we don't know. Because when we played them the first time, we saw Fitz,
Mm-hmm.
so we don't know what Tua looks like against the Bills. But like, if he lights us up, like week 17, I don't know if I'd want to play the Dolphins because we know each other so much. Like, I don't like playing division rivals because no matter what, like you saw the Bengals beat the Steelers, like anything could happen in division.
Yeah,
game.
divisional games are always tough, no matter what team it is. It doesn't matter how good you are. You're always going to have at least some kind of tough time against them.
Mm-hmm.
So what are you guys saying? Like, what do you think, Twaroski? Do you think the Bills would stand a better chance against the Dolphins or the Ravens?
I mean, the Ravens are pretty tough, but at first I was kind of thinking they'd probably rather play the Dolphins, but I've been pretty hot on the Dolphins all year. The Dolphins their defense has looked nasty. I think they looked even better with Fitz at the helm, but Tua's starting to come around.
Yeah.
I think honestly they might rather play the Ravens. The Dolphins are kind of, especially their defense. They are absolutely shutting down quarterbacks.
They actually played very good against the Chiefs. Like, I think they got 3 picks on Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, they did. I think Howard had the one-handed snag. It was a nasty pick.
Yeah.
I think he's leading the league in picks. Whoever, yeah.
Now, Hunter, what do you think from your outside perspective?
I think if you just like look at it on paper, you would probably want to play the Dolphins, but I do think there are like good. If you have good defense, Lamar Jackson seems to struggle to pass.
Yeah.
And when he can't like set his runs up with the passes and he just has to pass and that's not working out, I think you can beat him. So I don't know. You might want to play.
You might have just sold me on the Ravens there because I just had some flashbacks to playoff Lamar.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Playoff
And
Lamar
I
has
feel
not
like
been good.
you have at least like Tremaine Edmonds, who isn't like super speedy, but he can at least, I don't know. I feel like he could track him down a little.
I feel like we got to be selling you on this since me and Hunter both kind of have the same point of view, but for 2 completely different reasons. I feel like that's got to be selling you. Like, the Dolphins seem like kind of a team, kind of like the Titans last year. I know the Titans came into the playoffs real hot.
Yeah.
So like people were already kind of scared to play them, but like the Dolphins have been playing kind of hot for the majority of the year. Like, I don't think that's a team that you want to go against in the first round. Not only because like you might even beat them in the first round, but that's going to be a tough game. Like, you're going to get beat up in that game.
Another thing, like the Dolphins, like even just looking forward to next year, I think they have one of the high up picks in this draft from that trade from
They have
the Laramie
different
Tunsil. They got the Texans pick, and do they have the Steelers pick from Minka, or no? They already used that.
No.
So they have, they have their own pick, and they have the Laramie Tunsil pick.
And the Texans have been performing pretty badly this
Who
year.
would you rather the Bills play?
I'd rather face the Ravens, but I definitely worry about like keeping Lamar contained on the ground.
Yeah.
Like, our defensive line is not impressive. They're definitely not going to be able to contain him or chase him in the pocket or behind the line of scrimmage.
But I think they would be able to like shut down the pass enough to where they can make him One dimensional.
It's
Like
definitely
Jordan Poyer, Tre'Davious White, Levi Wallace, like they will cover their receivers enough to generate a pass rush. But if Lamar breaks loose, like on the ground, I don't think we can contain him. Yeah.
and that's another thing. Like the Ravens, other outside of Hollywood Brown, they don't have a lot of weapons.
Hey, they have Des Bryant. He got a touchdown.
Against the
Des
Jaguars.
Des Bryant hasn't been a weapon in quite some time.
He was a
He can still
on
make some
Sunday.
plays, but he's not a weapon.
But the thing I'd worry about against the Ravens, I'm not even that worried against Lamar because last year we played the Ravens better than anyone else. Like we shut down Lamar's run game pretty good. A lot of teams were like trying to copy what we did. But I think this year we've struggled against the run so much. I'd be afraid of like J.K. Dobbins is heating up.
J.K. Dobbins, I think he's had like 3 or 4 straight games where he ran for a touchdown.
The Ravens line is absolute like maulers. They got
Yeah.
Orlando Brown Jr. playing
True.
tackle, even though they
Great
lost. What's his face?
Ronnie
The
Stanley.
yeah, Ronnie Stanley.
Days after signing his lucrative contract.
Yeah, very lucrative. But they got
It did not. That was real unfortunate. You hate to see an offensive lineman go down like that.
Yeah, he definitely won't be in consideration for the MVP race this year.
The only other thing I want to say about the playoffs is
transitioning.
the only other thing I want to say about the playoffs is like it's kind of crazy. Like the Patriots definitely have the longest streak right now in the NFL of making the playoffs, right?
Yeah.
And that's already broken. And the Browns are not guaranteed, but more than likely going to break the longest playoff drought in the NFL right now. So that's kind of cool that it's both happening in the same year.
Yeah.
And honestly, shout out to the Browns fans because I remember
They've
Huff,
they've been through it. Been through it.
Huff and I, as you know, Bills fans, we've seen playoff droughts for quite some time. And when we broke that thing, even though we knew we weren't going anywhere with Tyrod Taylor, it was a good time.
It's still a good time.
Andy Dalton.
Thank you, Andy Dalton. We appreciate you. But what were we moving on there to? The MVP.
Yeah, and I think out of these guys, my pick would surprise you, Austin.
Who would you say, Hunter?
Well, I would like to hear everybody else.
All right, so the 4 people, these are from odds, like betting odds. Aaron Rodgers has the highest odds, Mahomes second, Allen third, and Henry fourth. So these are like the guys who are most probable to win at this point. So let's go ahead and start with Twaroski, taking fat cloud there.
If you would ask me 4 or 5 weeks ago, I would have said Russell Wilson for sure because he was playing out of his mind.
Yeah,
he's just dropped off a cliff.
Not only has I don't even know if he's necessarily dropped off, but the Seahawks as a team have dropped off. Like they are looking more like pretenders, my friends, rather than contenders.
Yeah.
As much as I'd love to see a non-quarterback win the MVP, I don't really think that's the case with the NFL anymore.
Yeah.
Even though this is going to be Derrick Henry's like 3rd rushing title in a row.
Yeah, Henry. I'd love Derrick Henry.
For second.
Absolutely love him. But I just don't see him getting the votes to take it over. I'd love if he did.
1,000 yards. Do you think he could get it?
Yeah, maybe. Like, I think that's the only way that like a non-quarterback wins the MVP these days. It's like you got to break a significant milestone.
Mm-hmm.
Like even if you broke 2,000, like it might even still be close. But like, what is it, like 2,100 and something is like the rushing record? If he busted that, then he would probably win the MVP.
Yeah.
Right.
So I do think Derrick Henry is more important to his team than anybody else on the list.
But at the same time, I think Russell Wilson is the most important person in football. Because I think without Russell Wilson, the Seahawks are nothing.
That's his fault for signing such a fat contract.
I mean, yeah.
Out of these guys, even more than Josh Allen, I think if you take Derrick Henry off of the Titans, like the Titans just don't have an identity.
Out of these guys, I kind of agree, but
At least the Bills would have like a good defense.
in my opinion, I'm kind of leaning towards Mahomes. Aaron Rodgers has had a really good year, but the last couple of years under the new offensive coordinator, they've been running the ball a lot more. Aaron Jones has been looking like an absolute menace.
Yeah.
And like this last week kind of not necessarily proved, because I believe they weren't playing like the toughest competition. I don't remember who they played.
Carolina
But
Panthers.
yeah, the Panthers defense is good, but they weren't scoring a lot of points. But
So
he threw for like 160 or 170 yards, and they still won the game because Aaron Jones balled out. I don't think that Mahomes is going to have a game where they win when he throws for like 160, 70 yards.
No, I think I saw that the Jaguars and the Jets have more combined wins against teams with winning records than the Packers do.
Really?
I honestly would probably lean more towards, out of the quarterbacks, I'd probably lean more towards Mahomes or Allen. I think they've done more for their teams than Rodgers has. As crazy as that is, because I think Aaron Rodgers is probably one of the most gifted quarterbacks in the league. But this year, like, it's not like he's played bad. Obviously, he's in MVP contention. I'm just saying the other two, I think, have done more for their teams. But I think for me, I'm leaning towards Mahomes.
Okay.
But again, Mahomes also hasn't played, like, the Chiefs' schedule has been not crazy this year. They have not played a lot of good teams. Like, this was the first week, maybe all year, that they played like a top team.
They've only lost one game, though, to the Raiders.
Yeah. But they did beat the Saints this week with Drew Brees.
Noodle arm Drew Brees. But
True.
Austin and Huffy, are both of your votes going for Josh Allen?
I mean, I feel like I got to go with my boy Josh.
And Huffy, yours too?
If Josh keeps playing the way he did this past week, where he throws like 375 for 4 touchdowns, he does this over the next 2 games, I think you toss his hat in there. But I really think this race is between Mahomes and Allen.
Let me make my
pitch.
pitch.
I agree with that.
My pitch for Allen
Austin
would be that he won Offensive Player of the Week 4 times.
I feel like
he won AFC Offensive Player of the Month. But also, I'm saying if you look at the Chiefs, they've had Tyreek Hill, they've had Travis Kelce. Before Mahomes was there, Alex Smith was there, and they were like 11-4, 10-5. They made the playoffs. They're a good team. Patrick Mahomes didn't he doesn't contribute as much to those wins as Josh Allen does to the Bills' wins.
Mm-hmm.
I've watched the Bills with good defenses. Like you said, they're a good defensive team. I've seen many good defenses on the Bills. We've had Stephon Gilmore. We've had Marcel Darius in his prime. We've had Mario Williams. We've had studs. We had Jarius Byrd lead the league in interceptions, and we've been like 6-10. I've seen it happen. And the thing is, Josh Allen, like, there's like something about him, even though like sometimes he makes some weird plays, he's just trying so goddamn hard out there.
Yeah, he's a Ryan Fitzpatrick type.
He elevates the team to a different level.
But like
that, I feel like if you took him off our team, I saw he got hurt against the Chargers. Joey Bosa had like a crazy hit, like pulled him down weird. I thought he fucking tore his knee. Was it Matt Barkley? Yeah, Matt Barkley came in the game, one play, got sacked instantly, just looked like shit. Like last year against the Patriots, Josh Allen had to leave the game because he got hurt for like one play. What's his face? Matt Barkley came in again, threw a pick, and we lost the game. Like Josh Allen is an absolute like must for the Bills to be making these playoffs and doing anything to secure our division, our first divisional win.
Can I add one more thing if we're talking about the Allen for MVP race?
Yeah.
My whole life, born 1996, go 96ers, I suppose. But the Bills have always had a nasty running back. As bad as they've been, they've always had a nasty running back.
Yeah.
They don't have that right now.
This is
Like their running backs are okay,
yeah.
but Josh Allen's making it work. Like Mahomes right now actually has they have the ability to run. And Josh Allen doesn't really have that outside of himself. Like Singletary is okay, but he's not really getting the job done. And that's I guess kind of more of a.
You don't think Zach rumbles for first downs?
He also fumbles on first down on the 1 yard line, hands the ball.
That is a big topic to bring up because not only do you have those passing stats, 40 or 4,000 yards, 38 touchdowns, whatever. He also has 8 touchdowns on the ground too.
Yeah.
How many fumbles on the ground?
Huff's got the stats right now.
Need a second here.
Bro, I will say out of all the people on this list, it might have been 2 years ago, but Josh Allen's the only one I've ever seen hurdle Eric Kendricks. Just gonna say
6
that.
fumbles, losses.
He hurdled Anthony Barr.
6
Was it Anthony Barr? I thought it
Yeah.
was Eric Kendricks.
6'5". It's the most legendary play in Buffalo history.
So Huffy, you're undecided. We have one for Mahomes, one for Allen.
Pretty much.
I'll give it to Mahomes.
Wow, Huffy gives it to Mahomes, and
It's a close one though.
And I'll say Mahomes is more talented than Allen. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that Allen is more valuable to our franchise than Mahomes is to the
If
team.
we're talking about most valuable player as the actual award is titled, I think the most valuable player in the league is Russell Wilson every year.
He's not on the list though.
I know. That's where that's where my vote's going.
my pick is Josh.
Okay. Right on.
Now, Hunter, what made your change of heart? You've always been an Allen hater.
I just don't like the Bills because I'm jealous of the success, but and I don't want to like Josh Allen, but he's just like the new face of the NFL now,
True.
Like he's probably going to have commercials of him doing funny stuff next year.
He has made incredible progress every year he's been in the NFL. I was the biggest Josh Allen non-believer at the beginning of his career, and every year he's continuing to get better and better.
Austin, I
can't doubt him anymore.
The commercials.
Oh, I'm not. He's not gonna do any commercials.
He's going to be in a commercial.
He doesn't have the commercial.
He's gonna do commercials.
Oh, come on, guys.
He's the new face of the NFL. You said it yourself. He's their banner. Yeah. I just hope it doesn't.
What do you think he's gonna? They're not gonna give him. He's not getting State Farm commercials.
He'll do Longhorn commercials or something.
Yeah. Hi, I'm Josh Allen. I like steak.
No. Huff, what do you think? You think he's commercial material?
I think he's going to find something that's real niche. I don't know what it is, though.
I've never seen a Bills player on a commercial except for Marshawn Lynch, and he was on the Seahawks at that point.
He's going to do tire commercials or something.
Yeah.
Well, he'll start selling John Deere's.
Something.
No, he'll be in a Nike ad. He'll be
maybe
something.
Maybe
John Allen's progressions over the last 3 years are insane.
He's gone insane. His first year, the Bills were winning games where he'd throw for less than 100 yards. It was insane.
Is he progressing at that kind of a rate?
Yes, it actually has been unbelievable the rate he's progressed at. Yeah. It went from barely able to play quarterback to his third year in the NFL where he's in the MVP conversation.
I've been saying for a long time, though, the numbers are skewed because when he first came into the Bills, our wide receivers were Kelvin Benjamin, who weighed 280 pounds and couldn't catch the ball. Our line, I couldn't name one offensive lineman we had. And then, so we had him. We didn't even want to start him right off the bat. We wanted him to ease in like Patrick Mahomes did, have a year off. Our starter got hurt. I think, was it Tyrod? Or no, we already got rid of Tyrod and we had someone else trying to start. Mm-hmm. Oh, I can't remember exactly what happened. The guy got hurt because our offensive line was so bad. Josh Allen, even though we built a new offensive line around him, the stats show that he's the most pressured quarterback. I sent something a couple weeks ago. He has the most yards completed like under pressure while getting hit or something like that.
I understand how you're saying like they didn't have the like weapons or anything back then, but I'm just saying like just from a pure like watching the game standpoint,
Yeah.
when I was watching him like 2 years ago, even when he did have time to throw, he wasn't making the throws. And
No,
now even
100%.
when he doesn't have the time to throw, he's making the throws. Like
Yeah.
he is
No, I've seen the same
like
thing.
he has made an incredible progression as a quarterback.
Is this his third year?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They do say it takes until the third year in the NFL to really show if you're going to be a guy or not.
Well, I suppose Josh
you-
Allen has shown that.
When you were watching Blake Bortles, were you waiting on the third year to pop around?
I think
I
the
mean,
third
I do
year
think-
did
I
pop
think
around, didn't it?
it was
Oh,
either
it
his
did.
third or second when he was named like number 56 on the NFL Top 100 list.
When he was just throwing up bombs to Allen Robinson, and Allen Robinson was mossing people.
It was
and Alan Hearns with like 4
yeah,
minutes left in the
Allen
fourth
Hearns.
quarter.
Allen Hearns was doing it.
Hunter and I probably have conversations because I remember seeing Hunter go through the Blake Bortles phase, and then we drafted Josh Allen, and I feel like it was a very similar situation where like I was so unsure of Josh Allen, but I saw the sparkles, and I would text Hunter. I'd be like, I think he's good, but I'm like, he definitely has like a very low floor, but a very high ceiling. Like there's some games I'm like, oh yeah, he's the truth, and then there's other games I'd be like, oh, I don't know. But it was like back and forth. It was the same way Hunter was with Blake Bortles.
He's missing like 5-yard out routes.
Yeah.
All right, this
after the commercials, but yeah.
This may be a kind of awkward time to bring it up since I still got one more topic to go. But I really need a peep spray. I had never heard any bad encounters about like LeBron. Maybe they're out there, but I've never heard them.
I've heard a bad encounter about LeBron.
Oh,
Does it
have you,
involve-
Roger?
Does it involve Jordan State?
My dad one time went to a Cavs game, and he asked
LeBron stabbed him in the cock.
He asked LeBron for a signature, and LeBron said, "I only give signatures to people with the signature ticket." And my dad called LeBron a bitch or something, and then ran away.
I'm talking about people I know that like Michael Jordan got them fired from their job.
If you guys didn't know, I've been here the whole time.
Have you actually been?
I'm not hiding behind Roger Goodell.
I was hiding in the
Have you been taking a fake peeps break?
I have been taking a fake peeps right.
Peeps break. That's gross. So what do you guys think about the Justin Jefferson thing?
I just watched it.
I clearly remember a time in practice when Blake Bortles threw Allen Robinson a ball, and he said, "Oh, fuck, Blake, keep it in bounds." So this kind of reminds me of that, but I think it's, well, I don't know. It's kind of similar because I don't think Kirk Cousins is that good.
It reminds me of another play that we could probably pull up a video of as well, where Peyton Manning was rolling out and Donald Brown, like, I think he misses a block, and mid-play, you just hear Peyton Manning yell, "God damn it, Donald!"
Yeah,
it's a classic one.
I mean,
it happens.
I'm sure it's a less of a deal than people make
no,
it seem.
it's not like he's saying that after the game. That's like in the heat of a play.
The only thing that would make me wonder more about it is just the Stephon Diggs beef with Kirk Cousins, seemingly,
True.
like where he wanted out of Minnesota and he felt like maybe he wasn't getting enough targets from Kirk Cousins or something like that. So I wonder, like, maybe if Kirk Cousins he's probably not a fun quarterback to play with. I mean, he's Kirk Cousins.
Well, I don't think Justin Jefferson can complain about like targets, though. He's having an incredible season.
Yeah. No, he just wanted Kirk to get.
It's not. They're like the Vikings aren't having a good season, but Justin Jefferson's playing incredibly well.
He made the Pro Bowl. I don't know if you looked at the roster.
I didn't look at the roster. I did not look at the roster. As I said, I missed it. But yeah, I think it's blown a little bit.
Rookies, weren't there?
That made it? Who else made it? That was a rookie.
I think there were 2 offensive and 2 defensive, I thought. It was Justin Jefferson
I
and
can look it
somebody
up real
else.
quick.
The defensive ones are Chase Young and somebody else.
Oh yeah, Chase Young.
Oh, I mean, Chase Young's been playing unbelievably this year.
Yeah.
Hall of Fame.
I'm looking up.
MVPs. But yeah, I can't think of any other offensive guys. James Robinson should have definitely made it though. I got my first glimpse of him. Like, didn't he catch like a sick touchdown against the Ravens?
Yeah.
I saw that and I'm like, oh, he might be a complete back.
Well, I just like him because at the beginning of training camp, when Leonard Fournette, or not the beginning, but like the middle of training camp, when Fournette got cut, and people like Trench were picking up like Chris Thompson and stuff, and I'm like, guys, this James Robinson guy.
I mean, Chris Thompson's always a good option in PPR when he's healthy. The issue with Chris Robinson, it's just he's
like the
always dead. I like he's the Dylan Squires of the NFL. He's going to be hurt.
I will have to go back to one of our earlier episodes because Hunter did say like very early, he's like, we got this rookie running back. I remember he's like, he's kind of like Maurice Jones-Drew. He's built low to the ground. Hunter was just like talking about James Robinson, hyping him up very early.
I also said he was like a combination of Barry Sanders and Emmitt Smith.
Oh man.
I love those running backs that are built like Maurice Jones-Drew. Got that low center of gravity. Those little fucking like bouncing balls. They'll bounce off of tackles. You're not necessarily going to bust through them. They're just bouncing off of them. Going to keep going. I love those type of running backs.
They're like compressed Derrick Henrys.
Yeah. Derrick Henry. Very different than Derrick Henry, but I understand where you're coming from.
I see what you're saying. So moving on, we got our whoopsie of the week. Which we've already kind of discussed it, but the Jets taking that L too, or getting that dub, but taking that L in the draft.
Well, short term
Jets not taking
a long term L.
Yeah. I mean, to be honest, I think Sam Darnold's a pretty good quarterback, and he just doesn't have anything built around him. But then again, Trevor Lawrence, he might be sick.
Hopefully, the Jets win a few more games, and they can stick with Sam Darnold.
Yeah.
But we already kind of talked about this playoff picture here.
Mm-hmm.
Do any of the games next week jump out at you fellers?
Oh, I'm sure they do. I'll let Huffy go first if he has any to pick, because I think last time I was on the cast, I just picked out like 8 of them.
It's like they all look good. I love the NFL.
No, last time I literally did pick out like half the games.
The only games that jump out to me this week are for the number 1 spot: Jets, Browns, and Jags, Bears.
Wow.
If either of those teams can get an upset, those are the games that really interest me this week.
Out of the 2, I think the Browns are playing real hot. So I don't necessarily see the Jets beating them. As good as their defense was playing last week, I don't see the Jets beating them. But
Quentin Williams is also on IR now.
I've been a big Bears doubter all year. The Bears look pretty solid, but I'm kind of a Bears doubter, so I don't think they'll lose. But if there is a game that the Jags are going to win, I think it will be against the Bears.
Wow.
Unless, like I was saying, that like week 17, the Colts are just rest everybody. But
one game in particular that's really tickling my nutsack right now is the Steelers-Colts game, because the Steelers have now lost 3 in a row. The Colts are probably the second best team they face. Like I think the Bills and the Colts are the only teams that are in the playoffs that they faced. If just off the top of my head. Well, no, the Titans, they they faced too.
But they faced the Titans when they were COVIDed.
Yeah. So I definitely want to see how that game goes. And especially like if the Steelers take another loss there, like how bad is that? Like,
Yeah, I've never seen a team with such a good record have such a, it's not a must win, but like it feels like a must win this late in the season,
Yeah.
even though they have such a good record.
and I actually think they have a pretty good shot at the Colts because their run defense is still like, well, their run defense is like, it's been spotty. Like Giovanni Bernard got in there a couple times,
Yeah.
but TJ Watt is playing out of his mind.
Oh yeah.
Cam
TJ
Hayward is crazy good. Like,
Yeah, TJ Watt's playing like one of, if not the best defensive players in the league.
if
but-
they can just stop the Colts run, I feel like Phillip Rivers is not that big of an issue. Like if you got Phillip Rivers battling out with Big Ben and you can stop their run, like Big Ben could probably squeak out a win there.
I don't know. I think the Steelers have too many linebackers injured
You think
to
they're
have a
done?
good defense.
All right, that's fair.
But two interest me, Rams Seahawks. I think that's always a good game. Excited for that.
That was one that I was going to bring up as well, because I think both teams are teams that I think like are very good but inconsistent this year. Like they have good wins and bad losses over the course of the year. Like it just seems like you never know which team's going to show up, and I think that was also one I was looking at this week.
Would love to see the Seahawks pull out the win there.
That
I
one
would
And the
also-
Rams are in the hunt too. They're
Yeah.
not in,
Oh wow.
Yeah.
So it's an important game.
Next one, Packers Titans. I think it's.
Oh, that's a big
Yeah.
game.
I think Titans are gonna show that the Packers have been big old fakers this year.
Oh man.
I don't see. I wouldn't even say that the Titans are going to show that the Packers are big old fakers. If you think the Titans are going to win, I think that's the game that will show that the Titans are like actually the
Good.
truth. Like I think that a lot of people are kind of like on the Titans because they haven't really bodied anybody, I guess, this year. But at least that I can remember. But this could definitely
Last week
be
they
one.
just shit on somebody, didn't they?
But I'm saying like I don't think they have
No
any like
one's talking about it.
I don't think they have any like top team like wins.
keep in mind the Titans have not locked up a playoff spot. So
Have
they're
they
still-
not?
No.
Oh yeah, I guess the AFC is kind of tight,
Yeah.
and they're still in close contention with the Colts. So I guess both of those games, the Colts, Steelers, and the Titans, Packers, those are big ones for both of those teams.
Yeah, they're both
As
good.
The they had like the mic'd up release earlier today, and they asked something to who's the Packers coach? Oh man, he's the son of
God,
LaFleur,
I'm
Matt
blanking.
LaFleur.
Yeah,
They asked him. They're like, "Oh, how do you feel about like you having to go toe to toe with Mike Vrabel, center of the field next week?" And he's like, "Oh, to be honest with you, he's like Mike Vrabel would kick my ass." Like, former NFL player, he's big hoss. Like, it's a nice little soundbite. He's like, "But hopefully our teams can go toe to toe." So
Yeah,
that
those-
right there, Mike Vrabel's already got the mental edge. He's intimidating.
yeah. Those two teams got to come in playing well this week though, because realistically, if one of those teams wins and the other doesn't, that's probably not necessarily going to lock up the division, but that might very well lock up the division right there if either the Colts or Titans wins and the other one doesn't.
Yeah.
Austin,
Yeah.
do any of these pop out at you that we haven't talked about besides maybe Vikings and Saints?
Not really, and I'm not too interested in the Vikings Saints. The only thing I'd check in on that game is to see if they're still rolling with the noodle arm Drew, because I think you throw Taysom or you throw Jameson and give him a shot.
I think the most interesting part about that game is it's being played on Friday night, which is featured on this week's edition of our Friday Night Pick'ems.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
So Friday night pick'ems. Twaroski, who are you taking? What's the score?
I've been a real big Saints, let's say D
Noodle arm Drew.
rider I've been a big Saints D rider for the last like 4 years. I thought they were going to win the bowl.
Wow.
Mike
haven't
Thomas
done-
questionable.
They haven't done it, but against the Vikings, I think they will pull it out. The Saints defense is too good. I think the Saints will win. I think it's going to be big. I think it's going to be 28-10.
28-10. Marking it down.
It's gonna be big.
That's a big win. 28-10's a 18-point game. That's a big win.
I know, but
You're saying the Saints win?
I'm not saying they're gonna blow them out by 40 points.
It's
That's
a big moral win. It's a moral victory. Huff, what are you thinking here, big dog?
I think you see Noodle Arm Drew fall off. Vikings win 31-28. I think Dalvin rushes
Oh.
for 100.
see that when I'm thinking about a big one,
Dalvin could rush for over 100.
Man,
The Saints 200 or 300 yard rushers in 3 weeks. Ooh, that hurt.
you know what? I was gonna go with the Saints, but last second, the way
Switching it up.
Huff said that, I'm thinking Noodle Arm Drew this whole time. I'm picturing Justin Jefferson. He gives Kirk a talking to. He says, "Listen, you're gonna fucking throw the goddamn ball when I'm open." And
Fuck Kirk.
Dalvin, like Huff said,
God
run away.
damn it, Donald.
I'm gonna go with the Vikings, 28-14.
Wow.
I don't even think Drew Brees can score 3 touchdowns.
all
I
right,
mean, there's other players on that team.
yeah.
Alvin Kamara, but
So I initially thought the Vikings would win, but I think I've been wrong for every single one of these.
yeah, I've been pretty wrong too.
So I'm going to pick the Saints, but unlike you guys and your barn burners, I think this one is going to be a defensive bout. And
As
Drew
good as
Brees
their
is gonna
defenses
play.
are, I disagree.
Listen, that's why it's going to be a defensive bout because the Saints have a good defense.
The Saints have a good defense. The Vikings also have a
It's-
lot of good defensive players,
The
I will
game
say.
is
I won't
in-
necessarily say they have a good defense.
the game is in New Orleans.
Yes.
So
okay.
Drew Brees, the outdoor elements will not be a factor for the Noodle
It's
Arm.
in the Superdome. Drew Brees, I think he gets knocked out somehow. We have Case Keenum or not Case Keenum. We have Taysom Hill at quarterback. And I think Kirk Cousins will be rendered inept by the Saints defense. And I'm saying this one is going to be 13.
What are you even typing right now? 13 Drew Brees knocked out Kirk Cousins. 13-10? That's wild, dude.
Very bold.
But I
This is
also
almost as bold as when Hunter predicted that the game wouldn't even be played that week, which is one of the more hilarious takes. that
Bro,
the players had.
I will say I can be proven wrong as easily as a Vikings win, but like the Saints were toe to toe with the Chiefs
I get that.
this past week. Like the Vikings have been so inconsistent all year. I know Dalvin Cook is nasty, but
Yeah.
I think the Saints D is going to hold him up. You know what? I'm changing my prediction right now before we move on.
Oh, we got to change.
Not
About one
28-10
change per
anymore.
season.
35-10.
Good Lord.
35-10. Now that's a blowout. Now that's a big one.
All right, we're in there. Everything's locked in.
Yes.
All right,
Okay.
so now that we've finished the Friday Night Football pick'ems, we can move on to not Jake's fun game of the week.
Yeah.
Wait, hold on. Who's Jake?
Not
Exactly.
Jake.
Yeah. So the
I-
fun game of the week this
I don't,
week.
I don't know what Jake.
We don't know who that is. Fun game of the week this week is the top 3 sneak players in Madden history. So these are players who aren't necessarily good on paper. Maybe their rating's not the highest, But for some reason, when you use them in Madden, they're just doing crazy stuff that they have no right doing.
Some real sleepers.
Yeah.
Uh,
So
I see my name first on the list. Is it okay if I call an audible and decide to go last?
well,
fair.
I don't know if you can go last, but I'll tell you, Huffy has to go first.
I would like to go last, please.
Okay.
Just mostly for, I don't know, I have a lot, so I just like to like
Yeah.
base them off of other people.
I'll take care of this.
I'll allow it.
We're switching up.
You don't even have to move it.
No,
You don't have to move it.
All right, Huff is now first.
Austin is a visual learner.
I'm a visual learner.
Okay.
If it wasn't moved, it would have messed with me.
All right. Bull Phillips on the Zoom call, about to go first.
My number 3 spot is going to go to Tavon Austin.
Okay, that's
Heavy hitter.
that's a good play. I like that one.
71 overall, 96 speed. You can get him real cheap. His card was always like super cheap bronze card. Guaranteed hitter to have in your lineup.
The
Especially
jukes are probably good. The spin moves
Ability's
probably
real.
on point.
Bro, I'll be honest. I hope not everybody was as ready as Huffy with pulling up like overalls and stuff. I didn't do that.
No.
Okay, but Tavon Austin is a hitter. I like that one a lot, Huffy.
Yeah, he's on my spot. I can't wait for the rest of this list. I'm real excited.
So
It's
Huffy,
like I got
you're-
some more hitters.
you sounded like an ultimate team pick, though.
Yeah.
But Ultimate Team is like, there is a couple of mine actually were generated from me playing Ultimate Team. I haven't played the game in probably 3 or 4 years, but
It's Madden.
I
so
used
it's
to- I
Ultimate
used-
Team
I used to
10.
play it a
fine,
bunch.
It's fine. I'll say all of mine are strictly from connected franchises.
Yeah, mine.
I guess there is a slight difference in that in connected franchise, you could potentially get someone that's a low overall that has like a development trait or something. But other than that, it's pretty much the same.
It's yeah. I don't like what you're doing.
Everybody has Tavon Austin. Everybody agrees Tavon Austin is a good
Number 3. All
Who
right,
is your 3?
Everybody agreed. Tavon Austin, number 3.
So coming in at my number 3, and this is a player that I've recently discovered on Madden. He's won me a championship or 2. What'd you say, Hunter?
What?
What'd you say?
I-
He's an absolute speed demon. He's a lockdown corner. He gets picks. He runs them back for touchdowns. He has, he gets hits in on my games, and his name's L'Jarius Sneed.
That's what I said.
Yeah, LJ, he's my new guy. But I had him in some franchises with Hunter and Huff. He was eaten up, and then I had him in a 32-man Reddit franchise, and he took me all the way to the AFC Championship game. Got 3 picks in that game, and I still lost.
I
A
will say,
franchise that I got kicked out of.
Hunter got
I-
kicked out of for collusion.
unsurprising. I will
Shadow
say, I will say, might throw Nathan Skinner on this list if anybody in the world would understand
Yeah,
that,
not-
other
not
than like
actively.
Austin and Hunter
I
know
thought about
exactly who-
Tornado Davis, but
or Jack Moss.
But Austin, mine is kind of in the same vein as yours. This is just a guy who, for some reason, when you have him, he's probably like the 4th or 3rd corner on your team. You don't really know you have him, but then he just starts making plays all over the field, and you're like, oh,
Yeah.
he's fast. Oh, he's doing this.
When you get in the dime,
Some KK action. I know he's one of Huffy's favorites. Kevin King,
yeah,
Oh,
cornerback,
my
Green
God.
Bay Packers.
he's been a staple of a couple of my Madden defenses.
Yeah, look at that smug mug.
He's got the height. He's got the catching.
So Kevin King, my numero trace.
I feel like we're talking a lot about people that you kind of have on your team and they might start making plays. I'm going to start talking about people that are on the team and you only realize because they have to start because they're the best person at the position.
Yeah.
And then they start making plays even though they're bad.
Interesting.
Well, in Madden. I won't say they're bad because I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings if they're watching.
Good.
But Jamar Chaney,
Oh,
are you out of your mind? Jamar Chaney was one of the best middle linebackers that I've ever played with in Madden. Not only did he have the speed, he could shed blocks and he could cover.
his coverage?
But he was like a 72 or a 73 overall. He was unreal.
Damn,
That was like in a fantasy draft, that was like I would forego any middle linebackers just so I could wait and take Jamar Chaney later in the draft.
I just had a flashback to a franchise that I had where I was in one with Twaroski, and he definitely picked me off quite a few times with Jamar Chaney. Like he is a
Jamar Chaney, like especially if you're using him, that's
speed demon.
a user machine.
Yeah,
And even if you're not, he's still going to be making plays.
some good member berries there for sure.
I'm not into user machines because I'm a bad user.
Hunter's a terrible user. Well, he's getting better.
Huffy, who's your number 2?
My number 2 is also another wide receiver. All three of them are.
L'Jarius Sneed.
Brashad Perriman.
Okay, that's a good one. That's one that I was thinking about as well.
He almost made my list.
Absolute burner, 97 speed, 93 acceleration, only a 73 overall.
Have fun speed.
Yeah, he was a burner. I had him on so many franchise teams. I've had him on a lot of ultimate team teams.
Yeah.
Absolute monster.
I had an honorable mention, and it would be Phillip Dorsett because he's also a burner.
Phillip Dorsett also up there. He
I
had the size.
Early honorable mention.
not even before he gets to
a
his number
BFF
one.
Tradition.
Phillip Dorsett, though, I agree. He had the size, he had the speed, he had the hands. He was a good one.
Mm-hmm.
Couldn't put it together in the NFL necessarily, but in Madden, he had it all.
Austin, you're 2?
So coming in at my number 2, he's also a more recent player. He's been a staple on a lot of my franchise teams. Huff has stolen him from me a couple times. It's Terrell Edmonds. And when I get Terrell Edmonds on my squad, he usually leads the league in picks. He's getting hit stick fumbles. I put him at linebacker sometimes. He's undersized, but he sheds the blocks just the same.
I think you could do that with any safety, though. I don't think
There's
it's
something about him. There's a difference between him and some other safeties that have speed and hit power where I don't have to user him and he still makes the plays. I don't know what it is. His awareness is still low. But Terrell Edmonds is definitely one of those guys for me.
So my number 2 was tricky because I was going to give it to Hayden Hurst. But then, like, Hayden Hurst kind of has a good overall now because he's a starter in Atlanta. So I can't give it to Hayden Hurst. But I'm going to give it to the guy who was doing it before Hayden Hurst was doing it and who still isn't good in the NFL. I'm giving it to Max with 2 X's Williams.
Okay.
That I thought about that. And when I thought about that, I thought about Austin.
I used to have Max Williams
every franchise
running
team.
back.
Every franchise team, Max Williams was in his team.
Yeah, I use him as a tight end, but whenever you send him out there, he'll make spectacular catches for no reason. He'll truck some people.
Well, Austin
franchise where I found a formation where your tight end is the running back for some reason. It was like an older Madden when he was like a rookie, maybe. But I would average 8 yards a carry with him, and he would never get tackled for a loss.
Look at this sweaty picture of Max Williams I put in.
I'll take a peek at it.
Zoom in on his face.
That is a very sweaty
He looks like he's lacking a soul. He looks like a combination of like
Mark Zuckerberg and somebody else.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Mark Zuckerberg and like just a hoss of some kind.
All right. My number 2 may come as a bit of a surprise to y'all.
Yeah.
Because I think my number 2 could be number 1. But at number 2, I'm sending in the TM.
Oh, the nuclear bomb.
Taylor Mays. Arguably not only the best underrated Madden player, but arguably the best Madden player of all time.
Yeah.
Taylor
People talk
Mays.
about 05 Michael Vick. They don't know about Taylor Mays.
I honestly would rather have Taylor Mays in my lineup than 05 Michael Vick. Taylor Mays had it all. If you're playing defense, especially if you're user in him, like he wasn't necessarily gonna cover people, but if you were user in him, he had speed, he had hit power, he could shed blocks, and that was all you needed. As long as you as the user could actually cover people, you were getting picks, you were getting sacks, you were stopping the run, you were doing everything you needed. I think Taylor Mays might be the best Madden player that I've ever used, but I have one that I think tops it, so I put him at number 2.
I have to hear that. But I will
So-
say, as soon as you switch Taylor Mays from a CPU player and you switch over to him as a user, he changes from Taylor Mays to Sean Taylor.
Exactly.
What?
Every
No,
hit was a fumble.
It's
Every
actually
ball
it-
thrown in the air was an interception if it's
I
on
don't-
that half of the field.
I don't know if Huffy ever witnessed it, but like Taylor Mays was actually the biggest game changer. Like if Taylor Mays is on your team and he's back there and it's just a CPU, you're like, okay, he's back there. Don't really got to worry about it. Maybe even bomb one over the top because he can't cover for shit. As soon as you see the user switch back to him, you're like, well, fuck. I might die in
Our
real
old
life.
franchises, he would go round 1, round 2.
Really?
He was
he would-
70 overall or less.
He would regularly go round 1.
Yeah. If you didn't take him round 1, you're taking a big gamble because if someone else gets him, there's no touchdowns going deep. He's so fast.
In the
He had
11th
like 90s between, I don't remember, it was like between like 96 or 98 speed.
And he was 6
He had like 96 or 98 hit power. Like he had really good
Jumping.
block shedding.
97 jumping, 98.
He had
jumping.
really good block shedding. There was seasons where I took him and then I moved into middle linebacker and I just used him as a middle linebacker.
Twaroski discovered him first.
I'm
Or,
sure the story's been told before, but in the 11th grade, I was playing some pickup football with Twaroski and some other friends. And
I mean, sometimes you hit the rogue safety.
I jumped up about probably at least 14 feet in the air to catch this pass.
I'm sure that's how it happened.
I saw
I
it. It's true.
Catch this pass perfectly. I get it. But out of nowhere, he comes in and yells Taylor Mays and just spears me into the ground. And I like fractured my wrist and it was terrible.
Yeah.
you fumble?
No.
No, he did.
Oh.
I will say he did hold on to the ball. He
I
did
was
hold on
like
to the
a
ball.
Julian Edelman type where he can take
Uh,
the hit.
But
Very cerebral.
One more
one-
Taylor Mays story.
that, that
Coach Jake almost benched me before a high school football game because I was talking about Taylor Mays too much on the bus. And he got pissed off.
yeah, about the whole Hunter thing though. It wasn't the first time. I was known as a bit of a rogue safety on the football team.
Yeah.
I was a defensive lineman. I played defensive end, but when you moved me back to safety, I just did whatever I wanted. I didn't follow coverages and I made plays. And I remember one time we were doing practice defense. I switched positions with Casey. Casey moved from safety up to DN. I moved back to safety. Went back to safety. Pick 6. Instantly. Coach made me run for the rest of practice. He was like, why were you back there? He was like, you have no business being back there. What are you doing? But it was a fun time. Taylor Mays, what a guy.
Legend.
I also like watching his NFL highlights because it's literally him, people trying to bomb over top of him. And he doesn't deflect the pass or pick it off, even though he could, because he's faster than everybody. What he does is spear the receiver,
Yeah.
and it's an instant pass interference.
It's
He
a
actually there was probably 3 different teams that he got a starting job on, and he lost it within a week or 2.
Yeah. Legendary play in college of Taylor Mays. He once knocked the opposing player and his teammate out on the same hit.
Yeah, it was USC versus Penn State. He
Yeah.
knocked a USC player and a Penn State player out in one play.
That's insane. I don't know how I've never heard his name before.
Oh,
We'll get you some
Wow.
highlights.
yeah. Maybe you weren't as I won't even say as in depth in Madden, but maybe you weren't diving deep into the Madden players back when Taylor
Into the
Mays was
low
a monster.
We were a Madden phenom group over here. We were looking for any
We did.
competitive advantage.
Yeah.
But Huff,
Well,
who's coming in at your numero uno?
I think we all know who it is.
My
I think we
numero
know.
uno.
I don't.
I think
My
Hunter and I
numero
do.
uno was also drafted in the first round, 9th overall for the 2017 NFL Draft. Coming in at 5'11", 194 pounds. You may know him as the fastest man to ever step on a football field, John Ross III.
Oh, John Ross. Okay.
I knew it.
John Ross is purely unstoppable. You put him in a slot, you put him on a drag, here you go. He's outrunning all your linebackers. You put him on a streak, don't matter who's on him, he's blowing by him. 4.22 speed, can't be guarded.
And I will say Huff has some kind of weird connection with John Ross where he is extra good with him. He's played with him so many times. If Huff has John Ross, he's going to go for 3 tutties on you.
Huffy
got
has
no
a 40 time tattooed on his left butt cheek.
4.22, babe.
See for
Very
me,
good pick, Huff.
I like that pick, but at the same time, I'm not too familiar with it because I don't think I've played a Madden since John Ross has been drafted.
Really?
I
Torski.
might have played a game or two, but I have.
Why don't you put Madden anymore?
I'm out of the Madden game.
Why so?
Twaroski's a big EA Ruin Madden guy.
I'm a big like. I won't get into it.
Well,
Okay.
I hope you not playing it changes things.
Wait,
'cause that'd
Twaroski,
be
have
nice.
you played Madden 2013?
2013?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure I've played Madden 2013.
Then you've played Madden 21.
Okay, but I don't
That's
have
as
the
much as
X
I'll say.
factors. I don't know about the X factors.
X Factors are sweet. Austin, who's your number one? Is he an X Factor?
So my number one, he's not an X factor. I don't even think he's a star development trait, but he is 6'8", and he hustles harder than any player I've ever seen on Madden. And that man is Margus Hunt.
Wow.
I didn't even think about him.
Hunter didn't even think about him. Now, he's never been the centerpiece of my defenses, but when I have
He's always
Margus,
on.
when I have Margus Hunt on my defense, he is in on every tackle. If there's a dog pile, Marcus Hunt's jumping in there. He's always, if someone's busting loose for a touchdown, Marcus Hunt's chasing him down, even if he's got 10 less speed, because he's 6'8" and he can dive for the shoelace tackle.
So big.
Austin,
It's just
this was,
honestly a culture pick because he's
Austin,
a good locker room guy.
this was the exact reason that I don't even have him on my honorable mentions, but I considered putting the Kraken on my list just for that
Kraken.
exact reason.
The Kraken's on my. I was saving him for you because all I can remember is his 10-sack performance against me.
Oh, not only his 10-sack performance, but that was the year that you called me out. You're like, you're dog shit. You're like, you can only dive catch me. And I'm like, okay. And then I played and I only ran the ball against you. But my defense just stuffed you, so you couldn't do anything.
I was using the Ravens. Michael Orr, blindside guy. 10 sacks.
For those that are
10
unfamiliar, I used to be nice at Madden. I'm not good at all anymore. Anybody in this podcast would probably dick on me these days, but I used to be nice.
We'll get you back in the game, Twaroski.
No, if I played any of you, I would get shit on.
We'll send you
I
a
don't think
copy.
that's true.
Send me a copy.
Okay. So my number one, I don't think should come to anybody's surprise who played whatever the Madden with Odell on the cover was.
I think I know who you're gonna pick.
I know who it is.
Is this the king of the moss and toss?
Is it the king of the moss? So this guy is a guy who's drafted in the first round by the Chicago Bears, and he never really
Yep.
did anything in the NFL. I think at a
Yep.
point he was actually seeing a sports psychologist because he just was bad and people were
Such a
calling him
bust.
bad. But I'll tell you what, when you draft him in Madden and you just put him on a streak, he's gonna beat the guy every time for no reason because he's not that big. He's like 6'3". He's also fast. But my number one best sneak player of Madden all time, the guy who sets up the Moss and Toss. He's the toss. No, he's the Moss of the Moss and Toss. Kevin King. I'm sorry, Kevin King was before him. Kevin White.
Couple.
Oh, okay.
Who was your first pick?
Kevin King.
Oh, Max Williams. Or no, two's Max Williams. I was just making sure we didn't have a bunch of Kevins.
Yeah. Did I have a feature running back in the Moss and Toss?
Leonard.
No, you had running backs, but the toss was real good that year.
I'll tell you who he had. He had Leonard Fournette. And he
I
would
probably
do the,
didn't. I don't think he was in
No,
the
he
Madden with Odell on the
Hunter-
cover.
Hunter, I remember 100%.
No, he wasn't.
I don't remember who we had at running back. It was mostly just worrying about the Moss.
It was probably.
But it was just the fact that the toss was so good in that game.
I'll tell you who it was. It was probably Tevin Coleman or Giovanni Bernard.
That was Madden 6.
Telvin Coleman was always nasty, man. Actually, one of my honorable mentions that I had on here.
He almost made my list too.
So that was Madden 2016. When
With
was
Odell?
Leonard drafted?
Yeah, Odell's
makes
on the
sense.
cover at 16.
I thought Odell was on
Makes
the cover
sense.
like 13.
16.
Leonard was drafted
That
in
makes sense.
2017.
Yeah, so I definitely did not have Leonard.
Who did you have then?
I told you, Giovanni Bernard or
Oh,
And as I told you, I don't think it mattered. It was just the fact that the toss was so good, and
It was
then
just the
the
toss.
Moss was also such a factor.
yeah.
And all of his players looked like absolute thugs.
He still does that to this day. He still does that. But yeah, no, Kevin King, I didn't want to. I, for the longest time, wanted to not believe that Kevin King was that good on Madden. And I would still draft like Julio in the first round, and Hunter would still outperform Julio with Kevin King. Because
Ryan Mallett was probably throwing it to him.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The quarterback didn't matter back then.
Bro, I
Guy with a
think
strong
that
arm.
I don't think there was anybody in our franchises that cared less about quarterbacks than me. I consistently just did not take a quarterback. I would take backup quarterbacks on actual NFL teams as my quarterback. But every once in a while, you find a Nathan Skinner and start winning 3
Champion.
straight bowls. So this might be a controversial pick, but you got to hear me out.
We're
I
listening.
think the best underrated Madden player of all time is a little player that might have gotten mentioned on this podcast earlier.
Old Randy Moss.
Randy Moss, not in his prime,
In the
at the
twilight
end of his career, when he was rocking like a 75 overall.
Hunter, you
At
don't
the point where Randy Moss was like the 5th string wide receiver on like the 49ers or whatever team he was
It
on.
was the 49ers.
He was like the 5th string wide receiver on the 49ers.
He had like 84 speed.
He was not nice. He didn't even have nice stats. Like Taylor Mays had nice stats, just didn't have the awareness to actually do anything. Randy Moss was just not nice at all.
Do you want to?
But
Do you want to know how
throw
we
him-
discovered Randy Moss?
you throw him in,
Randy Moss.
and the dude actually just, you couldn't cover him. I watched Austin send all 11 people on his defense into man coverage against Randy Moss, and I bombed it up to him, and Randy Moss caught it.
There was nothing I could do. There was
Randy
nothing-
Moss caught
that
so
up
many
that.
touchdowns against Austin, it was not even funny.
That
It's like
there's
it's
2
like-
games that stand out to me when I think of Twaroski. It's the Kraken 10 sack game, and it's the Randy Moss all 11 people in man coverage. He's still catching touchdowns, and he's 40 years old and can run, and he's only 84 speed, and his stats are trash. And he's somehow still balling out. They had some kind of like hidden Randy Moss trait in that game.
They did have a hidden Randy Moss trait.
X Factor before X Factor.
It was.
I refuse to believe there was not a hidden Randy Moss trait, because There's no way that someone that bad should be that good in Madden.
Yeah.
Is probably the best wide receiver I've ever used in the game. And his stats were terrible.
They were titty. They were really bad.
Does anybody have any honorable mentions?
I have a few.
I mean, besides like Ryan Mallett when I was doing the Moss and Toss, not necessarily.
So
I
I'm
have a
gonna
few.
go. I'm gonna go through a few of mine real quick.
A few of yours.
I actually have probably like 5 honorable mentions.
Coming in at number 1 on my honorable mentions is Big Red Bryant. Red Bryant was a staple of my early Madden defenses.
Yeah,
and,
Red Bryant.
He was an
nasty.
absolute run stuffer.
Nasty.
Daryl Washington. Daryl Washington for a long time was a fast linebacker. I'd get on there a lot. Just Squeaky Tart. I feel like you missed out on Hunter.
No, I see, because Squeaky is like good in real life. And
You got in on him early.
But
I know I get, but
he wasn't. I feel like in older Maddens he wasn't. Didn't have the good stats.
No, Twaroski, that's where you want him, is the old Maddens.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because that's what but that's not like he might be good now, but
See, I think we were just drafting him because of his name, though.
And this one should have probably made my list, but I was teetering on it, and it's CJ Spiller, because
CJ Spiller was nasty in
that one year I had CJ Spiller, he was already the fastest running back in the game, or the second fastest to CJ 2K. I upgraded his trucking to 99.
I remember that. That was that was miserable. That was miserable.
He was unstoppable. I remember Tyler Manna hit sticked him. His CJ Spiller's spine broke backwards, and he was literally like a 90-degree angle running down the field with a broken spine and his head like dragging off the ground, and he still scored the touchdown. Because he had a lot of heart, and he had a lot of perseverance, and he was a speed demon with 99 truck. So CJ Spiller, my top honorable mention.
I didn't know we were just gonna call out other people that aren't on the cast like that. But if we're gonna do that, I am going to for the rest of my honorable mentions.
You have full power.
Honorable mention. These are in no particular order. Like, not that any one of them would have made the list over any others, but one of my honorable mentions is Travaris Jackson.
Big Travaris.
Did nasty. I've also had many plays where Travaris Jackson's run down the sidelines, hurdling people. Insane. Should never happen, but happens in Madden. Derrick Henry, his rookie year, was actually probably the best running back in Madden.
Yeah.
That year
was he would always draft Derrick Henry.
If we're calling out people, I had Derrick Henry in a connected franchise, and Burley quit the league after playing my team. Burley literally straight up quit the franchise after playing my team because I think he quit after the first half, where Derrick Henry had like 280 yards rushing.
It was for
said, you know what? I'm never going to win a championship. So he never played in the league again. A little more tame is Dion Lewis. Dion Lewis was just a nice running back to have. He always performed well. Very agile. I do have one that I never personally used, but Joe told me to toss on. Brian Anger. Told me throw Brian Anger in at quarterback, see what happens.
Spiteful Hunter pick who's taken ahead of Russell Wilson.
No, he said Brian Anger, throw him in at quarterback, see what happens. Apparently, it's a real thing in Madden. I don't know. Never used it.
Interesting.
And last but certainly not least, no one can forget about the year of Cordarrelle Patterson. Where
Trench put him at running back?
No, well, Trench put him at running back and then cut him because he didn't like him. And then a CPU team picked him up. And this was back when we probably had 6 people in the franchise, but people were cheesing CPUs and stuff, chasing stats, trying to bump their stats up and stuff. Cordarrelle Patterson won the MVP at running back on another team.
Oh man.
Trench is known for dismantling his team.
Yeah, that is Trench's calling card, is dismantling his team every week. What would always happen is me and Trench would be in the same division. He would lose week 1 to me, and then he would just demolish his team to build it differently, but it would be significantly worse.
It'd be a lot of diminishing returns. Twaroski, I thought you were going to mention Ty God Taylor, because Twaroski, the first time I heard of Tyrod Taylor, Twaroski on the early Maddens would bench Joe Flacco when he was good.
It was Ty God's rookie year.
And put in Tyrod just for his speed and his playmaking ability.
I just remember watching Ty God in college, and I liked him.
Stop.
I remember the 360 throw on the sideline where he threw it and the dude toe tapped on the end zone. I was like, all right, if I'm playing the Ravens, I'm playing Ty God.
Hunter appears to be saying Trevor Lawrence will be next year's Sneak Madden Player of the Year.
I don't think he's going to be a Sneak Madden player. But I think I was picking his nose.
Oh, okay. I thought you were just saying.
No, that's what I was doing.
Take a peek at Trevor.
But yeah.
Obviously, even though I haven't played in a while, I am pretty passionate about these ones. This is probably one of the more fun lists I've been a part of.
You know, this list would not have worked with Jake.
Yeah, I don't.
So this was the week to bust it out.
This was definitely the week to not have Jake on for the list.
But yeah,
I don't know if you guys ever used him, but I have one more honorable mention.
Oh yeah, go for it, Huff.
And it's the only running back on the list, and he's under a 70 overall, and it's Dree Archer.
Dree Archer, I have used Dree Archer.
Yeah.
Dree Archer was nasty.
Yeah.
Huff is a speed demon, dude. He's running.
Dree Archer was like one of the fastest running backs in Madden.
Yeah,
D'Anthony Thomas too.
He was nasty when he was a rookie on Madden.
Next to rookie Derrick Henry, I guess you also have rookie Todd Gurley. Todd Gurley, I remember having on all of the franchises that we had, and he would regularly win the MVP. He was just running through everybody.
Pre-arthritis.
Oh, that was way pre-arthritis. It was pre being good at football.
Yeah, I mean, I did pick him up in fantasy his rookie year and got the dub. Him and Odell. But yeah, very good list, guys. A lot of good honorable mentions as well.
That was definitely a fun one.
Now, Hunter, are you there, or are you full blown Trevor Lawrence?
Oh, that's just Trevor Lawrence over there.
This is just Jacksonville Trevor Lawrence here.
Well,
yeah,
Trevor, you have any closing remarks for the Bro Football Focus podcast, episode number 32, the legendary running back podcast?
Proud to be a member of the Jacksonville Football Jaguars.
Yep, that's what they call us down here in Duval. Yeah, happy to be here.
Oh wait, Hunter, we got to do Kaiba's pick of the week.
I told you.
Oh, Kaiba's pick of the week.
We were doing that via phone, so you guys.
Wait, you're ruining the illusion.
Yeah, you're ruining the illusion.
Are you for real, Kaiba? You can't be picking that team.
Whoa.
Okay, that's if Kaiba picks against me, and this one's like if Kaiba's picking for me. You know what's going on. You got it, Kaiba. I knew you had it in you.
All right, so we got the Saints, and then we got the Vikings. All right, so Saints by 1,000, and then what else? Like
you're not gonna be able to. It's all one.
The Vikings by a landslide.
You'll just cut it all together. You'll figure it out.
Austin's very new to editing. I don't think he understands the work going into what he's currently planning.
The bad editing.
I don't think it's that.
The bad editing will be funny.
You're gonna have so many clips.
I just got a Discord message. 1 second.
All right, let's wrap her up. I feel like,
Well, Twaroski's checking his Discord really quick. We can wrap it up after that.
Taylor Mays was murdering people at USC.
Yeah, he was.
Are you watching the highlights?
Yes.
All right. Fun fact about Taylor Mays. He was coached by Pete Carroll at USC. The next year, Pete Carroll got the job at Seattle. And in the first round, instead of taking Taylor Mays, he took Earl Thomas because he knew Taylor Mays wasn't good in coverage. So Pete Carroll, genius.
Genius, more like just a person with eyes.
He realized Taylor Mays was nothing but a heat-seeking missile with no instinct.
He literally was just a person with eyes. Like Taylor Mays could not cover, but he could lay a motherfucker out. That was for sure.
I was trying to put a positive spin on it so we could send the tape to Pete Carroll, maybe get him on the podcast.
What I was trying to say was, man, Pete Carroll, such a genius. Man,
No,
I wish we could
Dorsett.
somehow get in contact with them.
No need. Pete Carroll's actually coming on next week.
Oh, next week on the Bro Football Focus.
Yeah,
Catch it
episode-
on YouTube and oh my God.
Yeah, YouTube. We're on Instagram, Twitter. We're working on a TikTok.
Michael Jordan, what are you doing back there?
Yeah, but that's a wrap.
We're at Pro Football Focus on Instagram, or we're on Instagram at Pro Football Focus. We're on YouTube where you found us. Check us out next week for the Derwin James episode, number 33.
Derwin James episode.
Sorry for the